silent. As sporting heroes stepped aside for the real ones. Don't you love how footy unites us, and always has? How it inspires, captivates, helps heal, our sanctuary, it's siren to siren. A place where we're allowed to cry and laugh and cheer as we see fit. Here, you don't need schooling to appreciate history. What it takes to earn respect. We get knocked down. We get back up. That's how footy reflects life. This season will be different. Unlike any other. We won't be there for the players.
This is a big moment. Hold your breath. Breathe.
But they'll be there for us.
Pulses racing everywhere. Oh, who else? McDonald. He's kicked it. Oh, bang. Sydney Stack just set him down.
True, physically distant.
Papley is celebrating. He looked at the crowd. There was no one there.
Still emotionally united. Stand up and cheer this week as we break the silence. How good. Don't you just love how so much seems lost and then suddenly the footy's back. The footy's back.
Hello everyone, welcome to Friday Night Football, a year like no other, you better believe it. And tonight is going to be an absolute beauty. For the first time since 2006, the Hawthorn Football Club head down Geelong Road to Kardinia Park, GMHBA Stadium, to take on the Cats in another chapter in what is one of the great rivalries in football between Hawthorn and Geelong. One man who is synonymous with the Hawthorn Football Club is this man, one of the greatest players of all time, Jason Dunstall. From the St Kilda Football Club, Nick Revolt, great to have you here. Guys, this you can't make this stuff up, can you? We started the season last night. The last time Collingwood and Richmond played in a draw was 2 years before the Spanish flu, 1917. So who knows what goes on? A 5-goal draw at the MCG between Collingwood and Richmond. Tonight is going to be a beauty. I can't wait. It's a once in a blue moon situation for the Hawks to play down at Geelong, and here we go.
I've got to tell you, Ed, excited doesn't do it justice.
No.
I mean, just to see the footy back last night, Nick, I was beside myself. Just watching it at home, it didn't turn out to be the match perhaps we wanted. I mean, it would have been a fairy tale to expect a perfect, high-scoring, highly skilled game. It was really dewy. The players have come up off a very short top-up preparation, so there are a few little, issues to deal with, but just to have it back.
There was some rust. Clearly there was some rust. There was probably some rust in here. I think Brownie called Sarah the wrong name, so we're all a little bit rusty to get back off to the start. But we know the players, they're creatures of habit and they love routine, so none of them have ever prepared for a game of footy in the way that players have had to prepare this week. It's completely different. So we have to understand that there's going to be pressure, there's going to be mistakes, but I almost love that a little bit more because it means the cream really rises to the top. And everywhere you look tonight, there are those potential players that could just separate and elevate themselves.
If you're handing out gold bars in Burke Street, there'd be somebody there complaining they were too heavy. We had the two teams that people are saying might play in a grand final play a draw that was right in the balance at both ends in the last minute of the game. Both teams could have won it. A draw maybe it was fitting in the end. Quite incredible. I mean, I thought, low scoring. Yes, there was rust and all the rest of it. Clearly, I had a bit of skin in the game. But, I was nearly jumping out the window in the last 30 seconds, last minute of the play. But more importantly, it was such a strange game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Collingwood dominating early, Richmond getting on top, and then in the end, no one quite able to get there. 5
goals apiece. I mean, that's not what we're looking for. But when you consider Collingwood kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, 1 goal for the next 3 and didn't lose the game.
No.
You sit there and you go, wow, what's happened here? But it was fascinating. We got great shots of you sitting on your pat watching the game. Tell us about the emotion or the lack thereof and the lack of atmosphere when the final siren went.
Well, it was interesting because we had the window open, and for me, we didn't have any of the effects, obviously, that was on the telecast, and you didn't have any of the coverings of the seats. So it was absolutely empty. But what I've really felt coming off the ground last night, and I've never walked away from all the games I've ever watched in my life, have never come away from a game feeling the bumps and the exhaling of air. And at one stage, Jeremy Howe, there he is right there, got tackled on the goal line, thrown to the ground, and you could hear him go, "Oh!" and all the noises of the game coming. There he is.
Yeah, exhaling some air
Exactly.
too there. But it was almost like it was a bit of a... It looked like a shock to the system for the players. That's really what it looked like, because that physicality that you've spoken about, players have been allowed 1 contact session a week after almost a 3-month layoff. So we have to expect that it's going to take some getting used to again.
And I think it's great to be able to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not getting overpowered by 50,000 people at the game. We're seeing the cold, hard reality of players doing it hard after a short top-up preparation, getting smashed, breathing hard, trying to talk to each other, getting frustrated. You get up so close to it because there's nothing else to interfere.
And the generation of voice out on the ground as well, and the enthusiasm.
Yep.
So when a goal was kicked, to hear the players really come together, it's like being at the under 12s again with the players jumping in, but really getting together. And then Jack Higgins' situation, but even watching your cousin, Jack Revolt, he was right in front of me having that set shot, and I thought, oh, here we go. This is where you're going to hit the front here of the Tigers. And you could see he could hardly get through the wall. And marked on the line and all the other things that happened. And, in a game that was supposed to have rust and all the rest of it, there was plenty of talking points, including the arc. I want to ask you quickly about the arc, not necessarily about whether it was in or out or anything else. How did you see just the setup of the arc? I'll go first in what I was going to say. Forget whether it was in or out. I think what you have to have in the arc going forward is if the umpire is in the best position, so if you actually could put cameras on for that Jack Higgins one, you'd have it between the goal umpire and the goal post and the behind post. The goal umpire was there. He said behind. Forget the result. I'm not complaining about it. And I think you've got to then have definitive to be able to overrule that. And I think, Jace, you made a good point. The shot with the fat goalpost.
Padding. You can only go from the back of the padding.
Covers it, yeah.
Because you can't sit there and guess, well, how much of that's padding and where exactly is the goal line. So if you don't see the whole ball past the padding, you've got to say, well, it was marked on the line, and that's why they paid the kick.
In a perfect world, you've got the camera, don't you, between the goal post and the point post. It didn't seem definitive to me, in which case you usually defer to the officiating umpire's decision.
Can I ask you a quick question, Josh? You'll vote yes on this one, I reckon, for the forwards. Should we go with the old cricket thing, give the batsman the benefit of the doubt? If you're good enough to mark it right on the line, do you give him a kick? We need a few more goals. We only had 10 for the day.
We're always going to bat for the forwards, of course.
Correct, but we've got the technology. Use it.
Yeah.
I think they made the right decition last night.
I think certainly you couldn't split it. And as I said, the only thing I would go in those ones, maybe stick with the goal umpire. But, no one's complaining about it. Everyone's discussing it. But, geez, it was a great effort. And the goal itself for Jack Higgins was just one of the great moments in AFL football. Right, let's go down to GMHBA Stadium now. Brad Johnson is our man on the spot. Jono, not far from where you live these days. You get down to the Cattery a bit. But at night, on a cold Friday night, there's no cloud cover. What's it like down there, buddy?
Yeah, the dew's just starting to set in. It is quite cold. There's no wind really to speak of, though, so the players should be able to handle things all right. I'm just watching Gary Ablett go about his business in the forward pocket here, his favourite pocket at GMHBA Stadium. He's kicking goals in the warm-up. Don't worry about that. The biggest challenge at this ground, though, as we've seen when the opposition come here, is not kicking it out on the Morwell Street side, ending it when they're leaving defence. That's one of the biggest challenges that Hawthorn will have tonight. But also, once you get it past the logo here, the Telstra logo, where Dalhouse is having a kick behind me, that's when you want to start going back in the corridor. And if you can get back in the corridor here, then you're away. Kingy penned it a couple of years ago, the Geelong Highway. That's what you want to get going for the opposition side. Get it forward, get it there quickly. And with the way that they will compress the ground, the Hawks, and that defensive structure, they've got to be able to reset as a forward structure and get back. So Bruce needs to get back. Puopolo, Gunston, Patton, they need to be able to reset at this ground because it is a bit longer than what they're used to. But we're getting ready, we're set, it's exciting, the players are warming up and we're in for a fine game, I reckon.
Jono, one quick one. There was talk last night, Dimmer said about the dew on the ground at the MCG. What's it like underfoot there?
Yeah, it's just starting to get a little bit slippery now, Ed. I went out and did a little bit of the test before and it's getting a little bit wet. So it will start to skid through. That first possession is critical in the contest. We know it's going to be tight and hot in there. Warple v Selwood, if they're clean, whichever side is the cleanest in that position of the ground will win the game, I think.
Just watching Gary Ablett have a shot behind you there. Stick with it for a moment. Look at the little master come in. Bang. Likes it too,
he hasn't missed too many, Ed.
Straight through the middle, don't have to worry. There it is. He's happy with that. He's just getting his sights right. Hey, by the way, going into this game, Hawthorn are currently in 5th position after one game with a percentage of 145% against Brisbane finalists last year. So they're in red-hot form to start the season, the Hawks. Geelong beat by GWS 69.5. So a big night tonight for the Cats to get on the board. Right, let's go to Johnny Ralph from the Herald Sun. Ralphie, hang on a second. Let's have another look at Gary in action. You could just watch this all day, couldn't you? So we'll just stick with it here. Let's see if we can put it through. So have a look at the great man coming in. Little familiar hop, step, steadies up and sticks it right through the middle. He has got the radar working. Judge, can I just ask you, when you're warming up, good to just roll into it nicely, is it?
Oh, 100%. You always make sure if your job is kicking goals, they want to be coming off the boot nicely. There's nothing worse than when you're starting to shank a couple. And sometimes on a bad day, Ed, you'd go and make your last couple of kicks from 15 or 20 metres out directly in front just to make sure they went through.
Warm-up never mattered for me. Sometimes I'd kick them beautifully in the warm-up and shank them all over the joint. Sometimes I'd reverse
because you ran a marathon in your
warm-up. Oh, yeah, that's true. That was
by the way,
stupid fault.
Our off-air camera, Gary Ablett just dribbled one from the boundary line on the run. So he's in good form. He's kicked 2 sets. Here it is. Have a look at this. Ralph, we'll get to you in a moment. Have a look at this, Gary, after kicking 2 set shots. If you don't mind, just roll it through. Bang, straight over the goal umpire's hat, as Dwayne would say. All right, let's go to our great friend, what's his name again?
John Ralph.
We're all rusty, Ed. Don't worry, we're all rusty.
Any time his name comes on my phone, I just drop it. That's right. Ralphie, how are you, buddy, from the Herald Sun? How's things, mate?
I am always happy to wait for Gary Ablett Jr. I tell you what, in his last AFL year, let's face it.
Hey, Ralphie, can I ask you, let's go. You've got a big story tonight. You can't believe it. COVID-19 has struck the football world again as far as misconduct is concerned. Thankfully, no one's got the disease at the moment, but what's happened in the last hour?
Well, players just can't take the memo, can they? And they can't enact it. So 2 young Melbourne players, Keziah Pickett and Charlie Spargo, have just been suspended by the AFL in the last hour. Now, the details of this, my understanding is that both of those players took an Uber to a house party. So both of those issues are clear protocol breaches. Now, Charlie Spargo was seen as the ringleader. He invited the young first-year player, so he gets a 2-week suspension. He wasn't playing in this game tomorrow against Carlton, but Keziah Pickett was. Now, a massive game given that Harley Bennell returns to football. Neville Jetta plays his 150th game. Quite clearly, he's close to both of those players. Now, both of them will be allowed to play in a sanctioned scratch match with the Carlton top-up players as well tomorrow. But let's face it, a hardline strategy. Gillon McLachlan has not apologised for it today. But when you are looking for easing of border protocols, when you are looking for fans, as many as 10,000 in a couple of weeks in AFL stadiums, it's a really simple decision by the AFL. Now, on to the news. No late changes for either side. So Jack Steven was ready to play today. Geelong was absolutely adamant of that, but they just knew everything about what they're doing this year is playing the long game with this player. So trained really hard at GMHBA Stadium about 2 hours ago. My understanding from speaking to the Cats is that he will play next week against Carlton at GMHBA Stadium. Reece Stanley back after being dumped for the qualifying final, dumped in round 1, but what a week for him. Back into the side at the expense of Darcy Fort, and his wife gave birth to a beautiful daughter, Sloane Elizabeth, on Wednesday, so no sleep for him. So for the Hawthorn Footy Club, no Jager O'Meara with that broken bone in his face, and he's not yet certain to be back next week. After a seamless return, though, Tom Mitchell gets another crack at it, 25 possessions in round 1 and another 10 weeks to rehabilitate himself. Now, he was in an amazing documentary only an hour ago on Fox Footy about that gruelling recovery. So the Brownlow medalist of 2 years ago, no Jager O'Meara, he'll be better for the run, but needs to fire again tonight.
Great stuff, just juggling the ball there. He's got fantastic hands, hasn't he? Just the first grab, tapping with one hand, swinging around, having a shot, just warming up. It's going to be a great game. Ralphie, thanks very much for everything, mate. So big news there for the Melbourne Football Club. 2 of their players being rubbed out for COVID misconduct. We'll take a break. We'll come back on Friday Night Football. We're going to head down and chat to Patrick Dangerfield playing his 250th game tonight at GMHBA Stadium. 34 minutes and 40 seconds to go. We'll be back right after this on Friday Night Football.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox.
On the surface, Patrick Dangerfield seems like any other teenager. However, he now has to cope with the demands of being an AFL-listed player. But the pressure that comes with the territory isn't showing.
Kick it left, kick it right, play. Dangerfield. Danger, danger. We need it up. Danger, danger. Yeah, danger, danger. Dangerfield, dangerous goal kicker. Danger, danger. Kick it, he does. He kicks it from 50, keeps it low. Unbelievable. It is crazy good. Danger, danger. Dangerfield will be dangerous. Danger, danger. Danger, danger. Oh, Patrick Dangerfield. Nobody does it better than Patrick Dangerfield.
Welcome back to Friday Night Footy on Fox. A huge game tonight, Gianna, at GMHBA Stadium. It's the Cats hosting the Hawks. And no great surprise that our Chemist Warehouse player in focus would be that man indeed. Patrick Dangerfield playing game number 250. 154 for the Adelaide Crows, game number 96 tonight for the Cats. Nick Riewoldt, we know he's a star. We also know what we're going to get from him each and every week.
Well, he's been so resilient for a start. Since he crossed to Geelong, he's hardly missed a beat. All the weapons that he possesses, the power, the resilience, he's a dominant player pretty much wherever you put him on the ground. I just wonder how much Geelong over the summer and over this break would have considered where he can have the maximum impact. We've seen Richmond do it with Dusty Martin. He spends more and more time up forward now. He kicked 45 goals 3 years ago. Danger. I just think it might be time now for the Cats to just split his time more in favour of the forward line. I think he can have a much greater impact on the scoreboard for the team, considering they've got other guys that can roll through that spot. And we might get a bit of a glimpse of it tonight as well for Geelong. If they are to go with a bit of a smaller forward line, with Dangerfield up there.
Because there will be times where Stanley needs a break, Radigalia will go into the ruck, leaves you just the one tall in Hawkins.
And what does that do to Hawthorn, who we know have got a really big defence? With Ben McAvoy back there now, with Ben Stratton, with Sicily, with Frawley and with Frost, that is a top-heavy defence. How would they deal with a smaller Geelong forward line of which Dangerfield would be a part of?
It's an interesting question as we take a look at the Zero Lab. I mean, it sets up very, very nicely. But even though they're a tall defence, the Hawks have got players like Frost and Stratton who are used to playing small as well as tall.
They can play both and they're quick.
I'm not sure they'd want both Frawley and McAvoy down there if that was the case. But I think they've got enough players flexible enough to play tall, mid, small.
Do you think it's time, though, for more of Dangerfield up forward? Do you think he can have a greater impact up there?
It's going to be hard because there's no Tim Keller, remember? So they need to pick up that slack in the midfield as well. But
you'd love to have two of him.
Yeah, correct. That's probably the best answer. Let's head back to GMHBA Stadium. Brad Johnson is the man on the spot. Jono, what are you expecting from Asava Radigalia tonight?
Yeah, look, it's a big role for Asava, Jason. And you can add, I suppose, with your chat there, you can add Narkle and Parfitt as the other two front square specialists that Geelong have that can certainly jump into that small forward role. And that's where Radigalia comes in. Hawkins needs some consistent help. And Radigalia has been able to produce it in small snippets throughout the last year or so. But now consistency in his game is critical. So Radigalia, he needs to help in terms of getting up the ground for slow play. When Geelong are coming out of defence, they've had trouble at times. If it wasn't Hawkins, who they can kick to and they've got confidence in, they know he'll take the mark or bring it to ground. Radigalia needs to start doing the same things consistently for Geelong. He'll play a little bit in the ruck, no doubt. He'll give Reece Stanley a little bit of a spell. Stanley will push forward, and then you'll have Hawkins play higher up the ground at that time, at those stages. But when Hawkins is back, it's all about Radigalia and his work rate, especially on slow play. That's the challenge for the Cats. When it's quick and they're going, their forward line structures up really well. But when it is a little bit slower and they are a little bit smaller, that's when it's more difficult, especially against the bigs for the Hawks you mentioned in Frawley, in McAvoy and in frost. So the challenge is ahead for the forwards of the Cats, Jace.
It's a very good question to ask. Thank you, Jono. Nick Riewoldt, I would ask you, how have you seen Radiglia's development?
Well, it fits into a piece of the puzzle that has always been a bit of an issue for Geelong, and that is trying to solve the ruck problem. And what do you do with someone like Radaglia, who might be the best answer in the ruck? Because we saw last year in the final series, it was that dire for them that they moved Mark Blitzovs, who was an All-Australian defender, into the ruck to try and solve that problem. So, you know, it's the old one, don't turn one mistake into two. You just hope that Reece Stanley can be the answer that then allows Radaglia to just plonk himself and develop and learn as a permanent forward.
But how long have we been debating whether you need two key forwards as well? I mean, Richmond did it with one. They've now got two and they've done it with two. So you can do it either way. Is it a necessity that you have to have the two?
I don't think it is. I think it flows really into how you want to move the footy as well. But I think at times the way Geelong like to control the ball, it's a bit slower. It means you're probably more likely to end up in situations where you need to dump the kick down the line. We know you need a tall for that situation, particularly when teams now load up so strongly with intercept defenders across half-back.
Where do you want to see him stationed in the forward line?
Radaglia?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think if he's going to play there, you want him to be the one that's more hitting the logos and getting up the ground, as opposed to Tom Hawkins, who we know one-on-one inside 50 is such a dominant force. Having this man up there as well, inside 50, I think that spreads the load a little bit. So I like to see more of danger. Radaglia is your high forward and Tom Hawkins deep.
So much to look forward to. A quick break here. Don't forget what's happening this weekend. The footy is back and it's your favourite stars that are leading the charge.
Silent. As sporting heroes stepped aside for the real ones. Don't you love how footy unites us, and always has? Captivates, helps heal, our sanctuary, it's siren to siren, a place where we're allowed to cry and laugh and cheer as we see fit. Here, you don't need schooling to appreciate history. What it takes to earn respect. We get knocked down. We get back up. That's how footy reflects life. This season will be different. unlike any other. We won't be there for the players.
This is a big moment. Hold your breath.
But they'll be there for us.
Pulses racing everywhere. Oh, who else? McDonald. He's kicked it. Oh, bang. Sydney Stack just set him down.
True, physically distant,
Hackley is celebrating. He looked to the crowd. There was no one there.
but still emotionally united. Stand up and cheer this week as we break the silence. How good. Don't you just love how so much seems lost and then suddenly the footy's back? The footy's back.
Yes, the footy's back. We've already had Collingwood and Richmond a draw in just under 17 minutes. Two of the great modern-day rivals. Hawthorn head down to Geelong to take on the Cats. It's going to be an absolute beauty. And news today from the Prime Minister that we might get 10,000 and plus in the next month into the games. We've got some crowds in some of the states at the moment, but it was confirmed by the Victorian health officials yesterday and Minister Martin Pakula, and today the Prime Minister. So we are starting to get closer and closer.
It's growing.
Which means hopefully COVID-19 is going that way and footy's coming that way. It's going to be fantastic tonight. Can't wait for this. Let's have a look at... Can you see over their shoulder? Have a look at this. This is young Narkle up here. Quentin Narkle, who I understand talking during the week to Mark Blitzarves, gave a great speech about the emotion of Black Lives Matters to the Geelong Football Club during the week, but just spinning the ball and...
I think that's what they mean by having the ball on a string.
It is.
He was doing that so easily, wasn't he?
Party tricks.
Let's go down to Brad Johnson, who is down at GMHBA Stadium, the old Kardinia Park. Jono, how's it going, mate? Not getting any warmer, I wouldn't have thought.
It's dropped to 5 degrees, Ed, so it's just starting to get a little bit chilly. If I jog on the spot, I apologise to keep warm. But look, we've got to talk about the Hawks a little bit as well. And you know, when I grew up loving the game and fell in love with the game in the 80s, it was all about the Hawks, and it was the Hawks and the Bombers in those grand finals and falling in love with Dermy. And this club has done so well for such a long time, and that's even continued on. Since 2008, this footy club just continues to get themselves in a position to challenge to win premierships, and that's what they're completely about. 08, they win it, and then as it flows through, they go back to 9th, start to build again. They win the 3 flags in a row, then it drops off a little bit, starts to build. It's starting to build a little bit now for the Hawthorn Footy Club. They've changed in terms of their players that they've got in the club, with the legends, that the modern-day legends retiring or moving on. But now the challenge for this footy club is the next month. They've already had a big tick in round 1. What a win it was against the Brisbane Lions at the MCG. But the next 4 weeks are huge. Starts tonight, of course. Then they play Richmond next Thursday night off a shorter break. And then they go into North Melbourne at Marvel before finishing that month block with GWS away. So at the end of this 4 weeks, we'll see exactly where Hawthorn are. If they win 3 or 4 of these games, or win all of them or three of these games, then you've got to consider them a realistic premiership chance in 2020. Watch the hype build if they get through the next month successfully.
Good on you, Jono. Looking at the Hawthorn side at the moment, warming up, and as we were saying a bit earlier, it's that there needs a lot of generation, self-generation obviously out there, the voice amongst all these players. We just heard about the generational change at Hawthorn, how they've been able to hold this together, and well done to all the administrators at Hawthorn, but particularly to Alistair Clarkson. Rui, you've had a bit more of a micro look at them in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, well, we know their form's been good for years, but their recent form is really, really strong. When we go back into the tail end of last year and the first round this year, they've won 7 of their last 9 games, but it's the quality of the opponents that they've been able to get over the top of that is really impressive. So 5 of last year's top 6 teams, Geelong, West Coast, GWS, Collingwood and Brisbane, amongst some of those wins. So you're only as good as your opposition. And I know coming into the end of a season that can be misleading, but they've beaten all the best teams. And we're talking about a Hawthorn team. They've evolved. So we know they've got new personnel, but the style has changed. So gone is that really controlled possession style of play. They're taking the game on a lot more now. They're playing on a lot more. They're taking on the contest when they need to. So they've shifted more towards a a Richmond-type game style than what we saw throughout those premiership years?
Well, I think Richmond have shown us over the last 3 or 4 years that that's the way the game's heading at the moment, and they've had so much success with it. And Alistair Clarkson's never afraid to tweak a game style or change or try to not just go with the game, get actually ahead of the game. I'm really keen to see Jonathan Patton, what role he can play for the Hawks tonight. To have a big brute like that up forward is going to give them a serious target, but he's had so many issues in recent times. We're yet to see the best in. We don't know if we ever will, but fingers crossed for the young man that he gets a good run at it injury-wise and just gets to play the game that he loves.
He's been a bit stiff, hasn't he? He comes off 2 knee reconstructions, gets to Hawthorn, plays all right in his first game, and has to have to wait 80-something days.
We saw him at the launch for Fox Footy. He came and spun the decks. He had the DJ. He was in the DJ booth, and he just seemed really happy and excited to be in Melbourne and to get a good run at it, exactly as you said, because he hasn't had it yet.
So we'll get the Cats coming out in a few moments' time. While we're just waiting for that, interesting that the Hawks should wear brown shorts tonight, I reckon, rather than a white. Why introduce another colour that's in the opposition colour? I know this is the...
You're big on these things, Ed, aren't you? When it comes to home and away strips and all the like.
If they wore brown and Geelong could wear the blue, that's the... Anyway, I digress for a moment, boys, but just something to think about if it becomes a boring game, OK? Boys, we're going to get the Cats running out in a few moments' time. But for the Hawks, Jace and Rui, you've both mentioned this as we go. They've got a reasonably tough run, but with a win in the bank over a finalist from last year, and if you can knock off Geelong at Geelong, it really sets up Hawthorn's run into this part of the season. And, Jace, you're saying you like to take the hard teams on early in the season while everybody's up and fresh. Yeah,
I think it's a great opportunity to benchmark yourself. And if you, as Jono said, if you can get 3 wins out of that first 5, I think they'd take that. Anything more than that's an absolute bonus because they are playing some of the genuine heavyweights of the competition. But I just think they've got a pretty healthy list at the moment. We know Jager O'Meara's out. Jarman Impey probably slots into their best 22 as well. I don't think there's too many others that they'd be too worried about.
They are a bit of a buzz team at the moment. As one of the teams from outside last year's contenders that could really rise this year. And I suppose that form that we just spoke about, 7 of their last 9 comes into that. How much of it is it because they've got Alistair Clarkson in the coach's box?
He's just about their best player, really. I've always maintained that. And that's one of the reasons why I think opposition clubs always have a little bit of fear when they play the Hawks because you never quite know what they might come up with. Well, they're not just talent-based, they're system-based.
And their recruiting's been sensational. They might be injured and banged up, some of these blokes, but they can all genuinely play. They're top echelon players. So the Cats are on the ground at Kardinia Park. Gary Ablett, we saw him in the warm-up, kicking him left, right and centre. And, of course, Patrick Dangerfield. What a superstar player. What a great job he's done as the Players Association president during all this period as well. And tonight, 250 games.
And no banner.
And no banner. But he doesn't need one.
He doesn't.
Their banner doesn't fly so high from dawn to dark tonight. Then at Kardinia Park. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Patrick Dangerfield, he doesn't need any accolades tonight. He knows he's a genuine ornament and champion of the game. When he comes back, can he lead the Cats against the Hawks to victory? Then at GMHBA. 9 minutes to the bounce.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox.
We won't be at the games. You won't see us. But we'll be there in spirit for our team and our heroes. Because nothing can take away our passion, our support, and somehow the players...
He looked to the crowd, there was no one there.
They will hear our cheers.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's just the way we are. From Mr. Football, Teddy Whitten.
You've got to inspire me.
To Trevor Barker taking absolute hangers.
Unbelievable stuff.
Dermy's courage.
That's how you show the opposition.
Lockett's skill. How good was Plugger? Dunstall. Jason Dunstall.
Will be too big, but Dunstall marks.
Carey's all-round brilliance. And the greatest of all time, the man, lethal, Lee Matthews.
Oh, the high post has been broken.
That's right. We've all yelled, Ablett! And don't forget, Jezelenko Yobilte! How we've missed this unique game of ours. The drama.
It's skimming. It's stopped. It has stopped diving.
The big hits.
Oh, bang!
And of course, the wizardry.
Up goes Farmer.
Buddy.
This is Buddy Franklin! This is the greatest showman!
Betts. Cyril.
Look at the pickup. Look at the speed from Rioli. He's a genius.
Oh, Cyril. The disbelief of mesmerising skill.
He controlled it brilliantly.
Finally, we get all that again.
What about this package?
So grab your favourite seat, grab a glass and settle in. It's time. It's all back. Dusty. Fife. Revolt. DeGoey. How good. I could go on and on, but we've waited long enough, haven't we? All the action begins here, right now, on Fox Footy.
Here's the roar. What a game.
Great stuff. Thank you to SK Warren for that magnificent narration of some of the great things about our game. We've been holding out for it. Had a taste last night. We're into it again tonight. Rui, there's some great names being mentioned through there, but one that we didn't speak about, who will be leading from the front tonight, is Joel Selwood, a genuine champion of our game.
Well, he said he could have gone on and on, Warnie, and if he had have, then this man would have been a part of it, absolutely. We know what a champion he's been, what a warrior through that midfield for Geelong. And last year was a little bit different for him, wasn't he?
He adapted well to it, though, didn't he?
He did. He played a really selfless team game. That would have been hard for him to put away all his natural instincts on the footy field, which is to hunt the footy as a midfielder, but to play that wing role, hold your width at time and almost go against your natural instinct, which is to crack in and hold out. But I think it'll be more back to what he's used to this year with the absence of Tim Kelly's from that midfield.
Yeah, well, it makes a huge difference. I mean, Kelly was such a reliable ball winner. He was also kicking goals for them. So that's a big chunk, a big piece of the puzzle that is now missing from that perspective. I'm surprised Dalhouse perhaps hasn't spent a little bit more time on ball. He has that capacity to be a good midfielder.
I think probably the reason is, as great a player as Joel Selwood is, he's the least versatile out of all of those guys that can go through the midfield. So you're better off just winding him up, pushing him out and letting him play his role where he has been so dominant for a decade.
All right, boys, we're just getting ready for the commemoration and the players go to one knee, and I'd like to just read a statement as released by the players of the AFL going into round one, and it reads, quote, "Tonight's gesture is one of support, unity and respect, driven by the playing group. We stand in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters and all people of colour. There is no place for racism. The knee is an expression of that support. We see strength in diversity. It makes us better as a football club and as a community. We will be there for each other always, especially at a time when many have been impacted by what is happening around the world. We will continue to learn and walk this journey together." So let the game begin. 1 minute and 34 seconds away. The siren sounds. Normally the roar of the crowd will be there. Not this time. It's a different year. We know that. Hopefully the crowds will be back maybe as early as mid-July, as we heard from the Victorian Sports Minister Martin Pakula and today from the Prime Minister Scott Morrison. So we're just about ready to go. Boys, I better get a tip. Jason, what do you like?
Heart's always going to tip Hawthorn in a tight one, Ed.
Yeah, especially against Geelong.
They've proven so hard to beat down there, Geelong, and I think it really is just such a unique venue. You look at every other ground across the country, they're pretty uniform, but this one is, from a dimension point of view, a true home ground advantage. So I back the Cats in down there.
And guys, hopefully one of the greats of football tonight is resting a little bit easy and enjoying the game. I've just got some news through from a friend of mine that the great Bob Skilton, triple Brownlow medalist, has had a bad fall today and is in hospital with a broken right shoulder.
Oh, so Bobby's okay.
A great man, one of the greats of football. So Skilts, if you're listening, mate, we're with you 100%. And football, hopefully, brings a lot of joy tonight to a lot of people who've been in social isolation, have had some hard economic issues, and of course no one's quite sure where the future takes us. But let's hope you can sit back tonight on Friday Night Football and enjoy a really good game of footy between these two great clubs going hard at it. So Away we go. We're just seconds away from a start now.
Can't wait to see this man's first contest, Ed. Tom Mitchell. He's been starved. Yeah. He's won a Brownlow medal and eventually, realistically, had to sit on the sidelines ever since. So watch for him to crack in like an absolute madman early.
You see Jonathan Segler there ready to go in the first ruck position, which has allowed McAvoy to go to centre-half back. It's been a bold move because McAvoy had been so good for a number of years since crossing from St Kilda in the ruck for Hawthorn.
Looked like he was about to line up on Gary Ablett for a second now. Oh, gee, he has progressed. He's come a long way.
He went over to Radaglia. What about those two?
I think he just wanted to have a good look at Gary Ablett. There's Gary Ablett coming towards me. All right, guys, let's get stuck into it. Here we go. Round 2 action from GMHBA Stadium. It's Geelong versus Hawthorn.
Stadium, good bounce by Du Bois. Stanley, nice knockdown. Seld was held. Now Stanley gets on the end of his handball. A mongrel inside to Radaglia. He's able to bring it to the ground. Frost did well. Look at Parfitt through traffic. Got it to Dalhouse. And within seconds, the first on the board. So Luke Dalhouse nails the first.
Talk about the perfect start, BT. The Cats never really got their noses in front at any stage against the Giants, but at home against a fierce rival, they get the first. Dalhouse terrific. Great finish.
And you see Joel Sowell gets the first ball. Stanley kicks it out quickly. And then the contest here, and it's actually Parfitt who's run from the centre bounce, follows up. Fantastic to get the ball out, and Dalhouse is on the end of it. But we see that gut running from the centre bounce earlier. Fantastic play by Parfitt.
And Stanley and Parfitt both involved in the scoring chain. Both emergencies in round 1. They come back into the side. Fought, omitted. Reece Stanley gets his opportunity. Faces down against Segler. Stanley, athletic, Dangerfield in game 250. Puts it out in front of Selwood. Smith gets there first. Back he goes by hand. Hardwick, the one change for the Hawks, replacing O'Meara, who's out with the fracture above his eye. Wingard.
Oh, thanks, Ged.
Sensational in the opening round. He works the ball to half forward. Cats in the right spot. Blitzarves. Jack Henry gets the handball away, and Stewart, who's been such a remarkable player for the Cats after coming across from South Bowen. So too Blitzarves, now a dual best and fairest winner, both coming from obscurity to be stars with this club.
They haven't, and Geelong have really been able to find players from unusual paths, and that's been one of the keys to being successful over a long period of time.
Segler, Warpool on the move almost, but Parfitt had him done defensively there. Segler tries to take him on there, could be penalised. He will be. Let's get down to Jimmy Bartell.
Geelong. One arm.
Jimmy.
Sorry, BT, just hard to hear you over all this crowd noise going on at the moment, but the Cats have, as Job highlighted, that gut running and push from the centre bounce. That's how the Giants and the Swans have had success down here. Hawks, if they can get forward and use that territory game, so clearances, contested footy is the big key for them.
Must be loud down there, Jimmy, as Hughes goes out wide and finds an opportunity with Blitzarves and Henry, so all those familiar names in the back half for the Cats.
Jack Henry, long ball down the line. These narrow wings the Hawks have got to become familiar with. We spoke about it in the pre-game, Joe. 22 metres more narrow than the MCG, where these two teams have played their last 27 matches. You've played here for Essendon in the reserves. I'll ask you the differences in just a moment as Warple goes without it, crashing through Harry Taylor. O'Brien on top of him. Is it really obvious when you're out there, Joe, in the heat of battle, how narrow this ground is?
Certainly when you're used to playing at the MCG dimensions, it just doesn't have that width, and you're forced to sort of go long down the line, which is it makes it an easy ground to defend.
Up, guys, straight up.
And that's why centre bounces are so crucial, because you can actually get the ball deep in your forward half.
So there's
the dimensions, Bristol.
MCG, and over the top of that, the width 116 metres, so 22 metres less. It is there, and just a little bit longer than the G here as well. Selwood handball to Ablett. Ablett on the move, and Duncan took him on. Now Stanley's got it all to do. Sicily closing on him, so he goes back to O'Connor, and his short kick is good to Harry Taylor.
Birthday boy Taylor just works it down the wing. He'd love that again.
just the second time that Frawley's been able to intercept Mark in this half-back line. They're going to have to get someone to actually allow him to man someone up. Otherwise, he's just going to be able to take these intercept marks, and Geelong aren't going to be able to break this half-forward line.
So Frawley, one of the 9 who have played on this ground before.
Push, Geelong. Hold. Thanks,
Mitchell
Jack.
and Burgoyne, the only 2 Hawks that have played here before and won. Obviously with Port Adelaide and Sydney. Stewart looks inside and prefers to go to half forward. It's a long ball. Rowan just stationary against McAvoy. Off hands. Atkins terrific. Knows that Ablett was there, chose him late, crosses the arc and then works the ball to a dangerous spot. Reece Stanley was involved in the first, can kick the second.
Well, you don't become the greatest player of the modern era for no reason, Eamon. You have to just look at Gas. He's on the boundary line, looks, takes his time, centres it beautifully. Finds Stanley, and Stanley should be able to convert from here. And it just goes to show, you know, great players, no matter how old they are, they just keep making the right decisions all the time.
Spent a fair bit of his time over the last 12 weeks at Moriac feeding the cattle. He returns and he kicks the cat second. The little signal. I know that he has 1 child on the ground and 1 on the way. Perhaps that was a signal. Geelong by a couple of goals early. Good start. They found a rhythm quickly. And Reece Stanley, who's back in the side, has started brilliantly.
So the first 2 here with the Cats. Fine style. Atkins doing a good job. This kick, as Job rightly described, was pure class from the classiest player in the game, in Gary Ablett. Well done by Atkins as well, protecting and giving Ablett the space. So fast-starting Cats here. You mentioned the birthdays. The fans enjoyed as well of Harry Taylor, 34 today, the late, great Bob Davis, the legend, born back in 1928 on this day as well. Stanley again.
Stay out, lads, stay out.
Good touch, short little ball. Here's Dangerfield.
That's it.
Made to earn it.
Stay with him, Jack.
Forward of the centre circle here. Now he can go left, right or centre. He elects the right. Here comes the lead of Hawkins. Gee, it was strong. He had it in the Dukes, just couldn't hold on. It was a great kick. Good attempt by Hawkins. Ball now in the hands of Scully. Scully on his favoured left side. High ball. Buse had to go back into deep trouble.
Geelong.
And a push, I think, will go to Dangerfield.
Play on, play on.
Saw Reece Stanley just acknowledging the baby born.
So long ball to Radicalier, just a little too heavy for him.
I saw them in Moriac, the couple, during the week, and they said they were close. They had Sloane Elizabeth during the week, so congratulations to the Stanleys, number 2 on the ground.
Already early, the Cats' defence is set up. They're getting every player inside their forward half. So on that very narrow ground, which you highlighted, BT, 18 players squeezed up in the forward half defending.
Here's Stanley. Perfect little kick around the corner, and Atkins finds himself in just the right spot. This a chance for the Cats to kick 3 inside the first 12 minutes.
Talk about fast starts, Haim. Stanley has been involved in all the centre bounces so far, and this ball up throw-in, he's actually cleared it again. He's already kicked 1, potentially going to set up a second. He's started the game excellently. Hawthorn are going to have to look at their rucks about correcting his influence on the game thus far.
For an 18-point lead, umpire hardly needs to move. Cats own the fast start. You speak about Tommy Stewart coming from South Barwon and Mark Blitzarves coming from a completely different background, and then you've got someone like Tommy Atkins, who's in the Geelong system for a long time, getting overlooked and overlooked and overlooked, and then when he got his opportunity, he found a way to stay in this side, and he contributes early on a Friday night in round 2.
Just have a look at Reece Stanley again, he's just got the clearance there. It's opportunistic playing in front, which sometimes happens as a forward. But his influence thus far has been really impressive.
Just the 6th goal of his career, Tom Atkins, becoming a really important player for them. 2 superstars take a bit of a breather.
We saw the early start, BT, and they're already 5-1 inside 50s, 5-1 clearances. Geelong are 3 goals up already.
Back to the middle. Segler again. This time Segler has a win. Narkle on the end of it, though. He's pursued by Warple. They to take it away. Gee, it was well done by Narkle. Now deep inside 50 again. They are peppering the 50. Well done, McAvoy. Little give to Frawley. Frawley to Scully. And Scully will just steady things here for the Hawks. And they just need to touch the ball a few times here. Long ball to the wing. Segler knocked down deliberately to Bruce. Bruce got it around the corner, but kicks it out of bounds on the full and half back for the Cats.
Back, John, back 5 metres, please. Play on, 15.
Couple of veterans combined. Taylor to Selwood. Back to Taylor. Going back with a flight. Warple. Then Stanley, who started well. As we said, second child. Ian Kirsten during the week. Congratulations to the pair. Scully through the middle. He runs. Works it to the wing. A couple of runners combined. Smith looking for a target inside 50. Decides to take Tui on. Long ball towards full forward. Big fly. Bruce went without. Burgoyne off the ground. Here's another chance. Hanrahan. He works it, and Hanrahan gets the Hawks on the board. A couple of opportunities to make it look a little simpler than they ended up needing, the Hawks, but they get the outcome, and it's back to a 2-goal game. Ollie Hanrahan making a mark now as a Hawk. He's come into this side, putting a lot of games together now. So 3 straight to 1 straight. Only 10 goals last night, 4 goals early.
We just have a look at this. Tom Scully actually changes the direction off the half-back line of the angle of the ball. It's gone from one side of the ground to the other, which allows Smith to be able to take some yardage, get it in extra deep, and all of a sudden it's in a really dangerous position. Fumble, Hawthorn on it, goal. It is generated, that score, from the change of direction from Tom Scully at the half-back line.
Well done by Burgoyne to get the little soccer in front of Hanrahan as well. O'Brien has a good win in the middle. Wingard went past it. Parfit again. His second clearance of this first quarter. Goes out wide. Boundary line to be a win here for the Cats. We'll throw it in.
Reece, Tim.
Finished with a flurry last year, the Hawks, defeating GWS and the West Coast, and then knocking off Brisbane in round 1 this year. Parfit again with another clearance from the stoppage. High footy, got the position here, Dangerfield, and that's a hold by Frost. He can't believe it. He's mystified. Brett Roseberry's one of the best in the business.
Dangerfield.
And Frost just saying there, I didn't hold him. I think you did. And now to finish it off, Dangerfield.
BT, the umpire from the centre of the ground had a perfect view of that, and he's the one who called it.
Thanks, Jimmy. So now Dangerfield to make it a real nice start for the Cats. From 35, it's a little right. And the first miss of the night for the Cats.
BT, the problem for the Hawks is around the ball. They're getting smashed around the clearances, and they're going to have to tighten up around there if they're not going to want to get blown out by Geelong. They've already had 4 shots on goal, and the clearances are 8-1 at the moment. Geelong also dominating disposal.
We noticed both clubs wearing black armbands tonight. The Hawks in honour of a passing club volunteer, Tony Murtar, and for the Cats, they remember John Hyde. Played 108 games for the club, best and fairest in 1950, premiership player in 51 and 52.
Segler, Stanley to Narkle again. Doing well, Narkle. Mitch Duncan with a bit of assistance, ran into a brick wall. That was Warple, I think, at the bottom of that. So let's have a look at this stoppage that Jobe's spoken about, where the Hawks are being dominated by Geelong at the moment. This time Segler says, I'll do it myself. You heard the call from the umpire. Did well, Stewart. Parfit there again. Geez, on fire at the moment. Little heavy for Selwood. Did well. And between wing and half-back, boundary throw-in.
You called it right, BT. Parfit's on fire, and it's the ability of these Geelong mids, not only clearances but contested balls as well. They're hunting in packs.
Segler, well-weighted ball over the top to Warple, and then Warple works it inside 50. Gunston an opportunity to get the Cats second. Cats quick out of the blocks, lead by 13. Gunston, he's been very reliable for the Hawks over the journey. One of the 9 Hawks who has played here before in Adelaide colours. Started left, tried to work its way back. O'Brien, well, through goals. Burgoyne maybe gets there in time. He might have kicked the goal, helped the umpire up and got them back to within 7.
I believe it's a behind. I'd just like to check if it was kicked over the line.
Yeah. Score review. Umpire's call is 1 behind. We please check that the ball was kicked after the line, not before.
To goal.
Looks like a goal to me.
Oh, it's got to be a goal. It's well in front, isn't it? I don't think Joel's anywhere near it from the other angle.
No, Joel Selwood.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball was clearly kicked before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
Drinkwise score review. Hawks fans will be happy.
Great stuff, mate. You're good.
First 3 to the Cats. Hanrahan and Burgoyne combined back to a 7-point game. We saw Sean Burgoyne warming up, Job, and he looked over to us and he said, the old body takes a while to warm up. Well, it's warmed up now.
He looked in good nick, didn't he?
He did. He did. A marvel.
One of the best nicknames in football, Silk, and he's, no matter where you put him over his whole career, he's been able to influence games. And here, just around the ball in the forward line, BT spoke about it before the game. The Hawks are looking to play more in front of the ball, and it's already paid off. He's been involved in their 2 scores thus far.
This year, Shawnee Burgoyne, just 9 kicks, 4 goals. Not a bad outcome for him.
Unbelievable.
Radaglia into the ruck, and Segler does him there. Tui got down, picked it up off his shoelaces very, very well. High footy to centre-half forward. Hawkins battling. Hawks got the numbers. Warple trying to come in from the back. Will ball it up centre-half forward.
I'm not sure if Alistair Clarkson got a message to Segler, but he's been much better in this last 5 minutes, having 3 clearances himself.
Radaglia throwing his weight around in there. Warple almost deserving of the free. And Alistair Clarkson operating from the bench tonight. Radaglia again. Mitchell there. Tui. Warple used the hip and shoulder. Little funnel ball out, comes to Shields. They go forward again. No one home. Hughes.
One of the 3 Cats playing for the first time this year to Duncan, who has benefited from the break. He had the surgeries in the off-season and has said he's really ready to go now. Just benefited from that extra time, recuperating. A long ball inside 50. Stewart goes back with a flight. Had to be brave, runs into Henderson. Henderson gets the best of it, keeps his feet. Patton has a little slice around the corner, into the knees, and Harry Taylor gets into the right spot at the right time. Not for the first time for the Cats. He's been doing it for a long time, saving the day.
Mitch Duncan quickly loading, and with the new rule from full-back, players don't seem to have capitalised on that much, but on this occasion, Geelong turn it over. Warple, the instigator here, once again the lead of Burgoyne. He just pulled up. Selwood, so good at sliding under the tackle. Atkins to Narkle, nailed there by Morrison. Now the Hawks are starting to find a bit of vibe. And coming to the party, that is for sure. Didn't make great connection, Patton.
One of the changes, Joe, when Isaac Smith came back on the ground. He's played the wing, and they're trying to send a defender back into a bit of space, give him a little bit more cover where they're getting cut open in the stoppages.
Saw that Jonathan Patton miss. All 3 scores for the Hawks inside the goal square. Ablett, Hardwick. He's going nowhere. Parker comes and helps the old veteran in season 19.
You're right, Jimmy. It feels like they've settled a little bit better behind the ball, and they're starting to get a little bit more of these 50-50 situations, getting the ball forward. They've settled in this last 5 minutes, Hawks.
Strong by Duncan, pushed the ball towards Parfitt. Little kick around the corner. Dalehouse kicked the first. Here comes Ablett. Tries to control the ball, runs into a bit of trouble, but got the handball away only as far as Stratton. Inside, Sicily, a couple of steps, and then the kick not quite as he would have liked. Bouncing ball. Menegola, Atkins. Dangerous spot. McAvoy, still danger. Hawkins, Rowan. Minor score.
What it allows him to do is Hardwick's the one who drops off the back, and we've seen in those last couple of contests the Hawks having the extra number. It also encourages them at stoppages for one of their mids to get forward really hard, and that's why we saw Henderson near the goal square just earlier.
Hardwick to McAvoy.
That's it, Dom. Move on. Play on.
Just a little possession here. Isaac Smith looking to open things up. McAvoy creates some run. Morrison down the line, a little bit too heavy for Brewston. Henry's been penalised though. So Bruce wins the free.
Works the ball. Attacking side of the wing for the Hawks.
Got him. Savi going up.
One of the things about this ground, and just have a look, there's a push. Because it is longer, there's generally space behind the man on the mark. And I think that's one of the ways attacking this ground is by getting the ball in motion. There's little bubble kicks near the guy in the man on the mark, or just a little handball there. You can actually get a lot of space just behind the man on the mark there.
It's only, what, 4.5 metres either end, 9 in total, but it's enough.
Yeah.
Forward they go again, the Cats. Gary Rowan just behind McAvoy, used his body pretty well. Hawkins fed it to Ratugolea. Rowan went without it, might get it again. Well done, Henderson. Out of the air. Forward it goes. Henry, penalised moments ago, and then gets an opportunity, spots Hawkins and puts it on his chest. Hawkins happy to take a little off it and puts it into safe hands. Gary able to kick from just inside 50.
Right on it.
Jimmy, older legs. Has he still got the journey?
Yeah, he's still got it. He was hitting a few in warm-up from about this distance.
Third year back as a Cat. 350th around the corner. All going to plan Joel. Selwood plays 300th together with Ablett in his 350th. Old legs, accuracy no problem, distance no problem. Cats by 13. An amazing ability, Gary, to do the right thing almost all of the time, Joe, when he's got the footy.
It's a lot like Scott Pendlebury, where they just make the right decision all the time. They don't try and do too much necessarily. Gary's obviously got the brilliance to do the impossible sometimes, but they just make the right decisions. Even when he's kicking, if he's field kicking, he's always just balanced. He chooses the right option all the time. The simplicity in which he plays the game.
He does keep it simple, doesn't he? I mean, it's well summed up. Instead of tying a double, single knot will do it, so leave it as a single.
So Ablett stretching with the distance, but still got it from outside 50. And we've got two of the most experienced, or the two most experienced players in the comp playing here tonight. Ablett and Burgoyne, one at each end. How about that? Back in the middle, Stanley. Dangerfield spinning, trying to double it up out of trouble there. Warple hard, been pretty good. Might have been Mitchell there as well. Now Tui gathers possession. They go deep inside 50 again. Bit of action off the ball there with Atkins. Now the ball hits the deck. Put his head over it and won it Rowan. Double spinning pirouette out of trouble. Menegola got it to Guthrie. Guthrie in the pocket. Centering ball underneath this. Selwood was there. He got hit front on from O'Brien. And he'll win the free, Joel Selwood. Just overcommitted O'Brien there.
Let's keep going.
Players are asking why. That man there, O'Brien, knows.
Out on the sides, 5 metres.
Didn't have his eye on the ball, I guess, Job, is what they're saying.
He's made contact with Joel, who's trying to mark the ball.
Selwood directly in front. Goal number 5 for the Cats. Boy, have they bounced out of the gates. First 3 of the game, Hawks nailed 2, and now they have kicked the last 2 goals here. And Joel Selwood deep found himself against a couple of Hawks there. So a really lively start. It's amazing how different it is to the game last night in terms of attack. I know Collingwood, what they kicked, Hayne, 3 or 4 in the first quarter? 4, didn't they? 3. 4, yep. But this has been extremely an attacking game of football, very different from what we've seen last night. Joe, we're going to see it continue, I wonder.
Well, I think so. And you look at Joel Selwood's influence early, and you can see he's just starting to push forward now. The ball's in dispute, and he's putting some pressure on his Hawthorn opposition. He's had 9 disposals, 3 clearances, and now kicked the goal, and he's just puts it in an uncomfortable position for his Hawthorn defender, gets a one-on-one, creates an opportunity to kick a goal, and he's had a fantastic opening quarter.
Stanley and Segler again. This time Wingard bursts through. Dangerfield does the chasing. Wingard driving ball long. Gunston.
Holding. Hawthorn.
Yeah, good, mate. Really good.
Tom Stewart doesn't agree. Gunston has an opportunity to bring it back to within 13 as we close in on quarter time. Any argument, Joe?
No, I don't think so. I think it was there. I think you wrap your arms around the player who's trying to make a play on the ball. The umpire's going to pay that against you.
So Gunston has another look. His first from
15
about
gone.
50. Right half forward. This left pocket. Accuracy, no problem. Hawks, they get their 3rd. Such a clever play, Gunston. What he did poorly last time, he fixed it up. Deadly accurate, straight through the middle.
Good chat from the bench, John.
Tom Stewart. BT, you and I were speaking. Where's Boris's jumper? And I reckon Boris would be looking on from wherever he is tonight going, where was it really well?
He's looking more and more like him every game that he plays. Steady, consistent, and just a great player. So there's no doubt about the hold. Gee, the interesting thing here for me is 8 goals kicked collectively already. They kicked 10 in total for the whole game last night. We haven't even finished the quarter yet, and they've got 8. Things can change quickly. Games are played differently.
And BT, you were out on the MCG last night. You're out here at GM HBA pre-game.
Yep.
Different, the surfaces. This, not nearly as dewy.
Not nearly as much water on the deck here, Haim, although has started to come in a little bit now. I'll go down to Jimmy and find out in a minute, but very slippery conditions last night. Here's Isaac Smith. Got it on there to Mitchell. Mitchell bangs it forward to O'Brien with blitz-ups. O'Brien, a double juggler. Got it forward. Now it's a one-on-one. Gunston! Got it. We're going to have goal number 9. We're going to end up with more goals in this first quarter than we got for the whole game last night. Incredible. Gunston, the advantage of playing in front.
And the space as well. And we just have a look at, early on it was Reece Stanley, now it's been Segler who's actually had a huge influence around the ball. He just gets another possession there. His follow-up has been excellent. And he's actually changed what's been happening around the stoppages for Hawthorn.
For his second, got it, Gunston. The Hawks have chiselled their way back within 7 points. 2 in a row for Gunston. The Hawks doing a pretty good job here. Kicked 4 of the last 6.
How different the feel from last night to this. 10 for the night. 5 apiece last night. 5-4 now.
Interesting, the quarter's gone 29 minutes already.
BT, we just touched on it before. You see the follow-up here of your ruckman. It's what you want to see when you're doing a midfield review, is the ruckman getting involved at ground level. We've seen Stanley had 2 clearances himself. Now Segler's fought back and had 2 as well, and they've both been able to generate goals from their influences at the stoppages. And I think that both coaches will be looking at it and thinking, OK, well, you're on top early, but we've fought back in this last half of the quarter.
Segler channeling his inner Grundy. He's the master at the follow-up, isn't he, Brodie Grundy? He's been the benchmark. Here's Segler again. Ruckman come midfielder. Dalehouse sees his skipper, couldn't get it to him, but went back to Dangerfield. Smothered by Wingard. Suddenly the Hawks forward again through Hanrahan. Turnover into the hands of Blitzards.
Play on.
So the last 35 seconds of the opening turn, the Cats still have time. They're going to play on and rush. Guthrie right on the wing in front of us. His brother omitted from the round 1 side, just works it towards half forward. 20 seconds left. Fly from Rowan. Opportunity for Dangerfield. Runs into Henderson over the top of him, and then 2 Hawks ensure he goes nowhere.
Thought he fell down on it. Let it go, guys.
So all the chitter-chatter from the journos and maybe a few supporters last night about how the game's in trouble, and look at this tonight. It's back, Job. It's fun again. Gee, it's incredible how different sides play different ways, and that's what it's all about. Here's an opportunity with Morrison. Dangerous kick. Siren sounds. Siren sounds. 9 goals kicked in the first quarter is the story of the night here at GMHBA Stadium. Make no mistake, 9 goals collectively kicked in a cracking first quarter of football. Cats lead it by 7, 5-2-32 to the Hawks, 4-1-25.
Behind this door, their greatest fear awaits.
No, no!
Big Brother, Sunday at 7 on 7.
Former Sun and Blue Daniel Gorringe going well in the Big Brother house. Bit of argy-bargy. Joel Seward going down. Liam Shields gets up. I can help you out. I can keep you down, whatever you like. Just part of it all.
Might be a little fine, that's about it.
Okay. Let's hear from some of the fans. The couch crowd.
Just want to wish you guys luck tonight. Let's show the Cats who's boss and up the Hawks.
And the Cats and Paddy Dangerfield. He's really good, you know. Go Tom Mitchell!
Go Cats! Yeah! Go Cats!
Make sure you send in your message of support if you'd like to. Hashtag CouchCrowd. Down to you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Hame. We're going to have a quick look at the Telstra tracker here with Reece Stanley, the Geelong ruckman, who started that quarter super well, as Job highlighted, probably involved in the Cats' first 3 goals. And as you can see here, he's probably doing the centre bounce and charging forward, trying to test out John Segler there in the ruck and see if he can get involved in the Cats' attack. Probably did it really well for the first half of that quarter, but John Segler started to get on top in the centre bounces by jumping into Reece Stanley and getting involved at ground level as the quarter wore on.
Not going off track there, is he? That is a dead straight line down the cuts.
That's a tractor.
He's not doing any outside running.
That's it, the Cats highway there. And he's had a big week this week, as we see on social media there, welcoming a little baby girl, Sloane, into the family. So congratulations to the Stanley family.
Well done to Kirsten and to Reece. Family of 3 becomes 4. Joins son Jagger. I saw Kirsten and Reece at the Moriac store, Bristol, on Sunday. She said, I'm due soon. Really soon, as it turned out.
You hang around a lot of strange places.
Moriac, one of the great parts of the world.
Yes, but at general stores, you know.
That's where you get bread and milk, Bristol. It's not that unusual.
100 miles from where you live.
Birregurra, mum's at Birri.
Strange.
No.
Anyway, we are ready to go here. Shawnee Burgoyne playing deep forward. Looking good. Champ at the other end, Ablett looking good. Dangerfield, all the guys you expect to play well are playing well. Quarters are longer, the quarters are shorter, the breaks a couple of minutes longer, And that's why we're waiting here now. Not waiting for anyone except for the time to expire. Curtis Du Bois signals we're right to go now. 5 goals, plays 4 goals. Segler again, as Job just mentioned, got on top towards the end of that quarter. Selwood almost throwing it out to Stanley. Now Duncan's got a job to do. Warple confronted him front on. Knockdown. Puopolo through traffic. Beautiful handball to Shields from 50 metres out. An open goal square. Needs a good bounce. Stewart will cut it off. Just in the nick of time.
So Tom Stewart happy to get on with things. Dangerfield, his target, finds himself wedged between a couple of Hawks. O'Brien at ground level runs into blitz halves. Then Parfitt, one of the 3-ins for the Cats, makes sure the umpire needs to be the next involved. 5 goals, 2 to 4-2. Segler knocks it down, wanted Shields, couldn't find him. Great opportunity for Stanley and Parfitt, Job, who were overlooked in round 1. Get their opportunity after 12 weeks, and they'll be desperate to retain their spot. 3 of this 4-week block here at the home ground for the Cats. Here's Morrison. Going to land about 30 from the Hawks' goal. Henry, O'Brien, Patton lost sight of it. Little handball. Back it comes to O'Connor, who's just blossomed for the Cats. Atkins, Menegola. Now to half forward. McAvoy, Ratugolea. 2 big men go at it. Ratugolea read it well, just got himself in front. Looks towards half forward. Chance for Rowan. Frost towards the boundary line. Talked about O'Connor, Job. You mentioned him earlier in the night. You love the way he's playing his footy.
Yeah, I just thought he was, his final series last year, he really stood up and showed an enormous amount of improvement in a short amount of time. For someone who hasn't grown up with the game, I think he's been a real surprise packet for this Geelong side.
Chose to stay in Australia in the break as well, when I think about 7 other Irish boys all went back to Ireland in that break that we've just had. He chose to stay here, work on some deficiencies.
You can understand when you look at the coaching staff, you've got Matty Scarlett, Corey Enright, why someone would be able to blossom and develop the way they are, especially as a defender, when you've got those guys teaching you.
And BT, he's already in the leadership group. It's only game 32 tonight, but it says a lot about the individual.
It does. There's Morrison. Smith. Beautiful little dummy with the foot. Now kicks it long down the line. Patton. Puopolo. Had Scully as a training partner. Had the opportunity to give it to him then, but missed. Here's Harry Taylor, kick inside 50 through the hands of Frost. McAvoy, Ratugolea, 2 of the big fellas on the deck. Ratugolea sits on top of him. And it'll be a ball up here.
Who allocated the training partners at Hawthorn, BT?
I'm not sure, but poor old Puop having to follow Scully around for 12 weeks. Can you imagine how many kilometres they did? They would have done 35 a day. And Scully would have been going, come on, mate, no water, you're coming with me.
Imagine Poppy reporting, yep, steps are up again today.
He's lost 8 kilo, Poppy.
Duncan.
Gone through 4 pairs of shoes, too.
Inside Duncan, clever little kick. Hawkins in front of Frawley, might get the free kick.
Highlight. Thanks, guys, roll up, get up.
Warple and Myers continue to wrestle. Meanwhile, Hawkins thinks about how he registers the Cats. Goal number 6 for the night. Dalhouse, Stanley, Atkins, Ablett and Selwood all on the board already. Hawkins looking at his first.
Just an example of, especially in this ground or in modern football, is the ability for a team to set up well defensively behind the ball. Just means that they get the opportunity for repeat entries, and the pressure eventually means that their mistake is likely to happen if you're getting multiple re-entries.
Had some big moments against the Hawks over the journey. Won't kick a major here. Rowan flew, but Hawks took care of things near the Cats' goal line.
Tommy Hawkins.
And Joe, that's part of the squeeze that the Cats put on at this ground. So the Hawks have decided to drop their number off, and the Cats have kept theirs back behind the ball. So there's an extra 2 players in this Cats wall as this kick comes out from Tom Mitchell.
Mitchell Wide there now. This time Frawley defends well. Here is Hawkins. Game 2-5-8 for him. Gave it to Ablett. In game 3-4-7. Goes back inside once again. Sicily flies. Couldn't mark it on the chest. Rowan lurking. Did well. Morrison had to disguise the out of bounds and did it perfectly well.
So when the Hawks enter out of their back 50 on those slow ones, we've seen them in recent years just build the footy up, short kicks until they can get some field position to attack.
Hawkins, the leading goal scorer for the last 8 years, becomes a ruckman against Segler, and the Hawks work it back to the wing. Burgoyne takes on a couple of cats. Patton, second game as a Hawk, to Hanrahan. Blitzard gets the football. Look for Dalhouse. Stratton or Gunston knew exactly what was happening now. O'Connor around the corner into the belly of Frawley. Little one wide to Frost. Short ball to Henderson. Henderson delisted, and then in his third year as a Hawk after being delisted has his best year. Ends up runner-up in the best and fairest.
He's got a real good comb over going there as well with the sides. Here's Stanley. Patton was in amongst it. Picked up here, might have been a goal. A handball squirted out to Myers. Myers, of course, along with Warple, former teammates at the Geelong Falcons under MT9. Mickey Turner down there. There's Burgoyne and Blitzarves. And the tracker tonight sees Blitzarves with almost 5K under his belt.
Probably three of the top 5 runners in the league out there tonight with Isaac Smith, Blitzarves and Tom Scully. So.
There's Stanley. Knockdown. Selwood was away. Around the corner, high footy, dangerous ball inside 50 again. So the Hawks under real concerted long-term pressure here at the moment. Picked up by Frawley. Quick kick out of the pack, out of the danger zone. Dangerfield is there. They fly. Big thump by Stanley off the back. Shields got rid of it in the nick of time to Henderson. Mounting now. Patton probably could have gone inside. Goes outside to Henderson. Henderson now runs his full journey. Good centering ball. Burgoyne in front. Couldn't mark. Well defended. I think it was Buse that got it, but he was caught in the tackle by Wingard, and a nice tackle it was.
So Wingard, 3 in round 1. Can he add and do some damage here tonight? They trail by 7, the Hawks, but they've kicked 4 of the last 6 after the Cats got the first 3. Bruce, he's been kicking goals for the Hawks since he arrived. Never less than 30 in a year. Hasn't missed too many games either. Somehow, tunnel balled out the back. Taylor thought about where to next. Warple got in just the right position. Narkle tries to get involved.
Good job. Thanks, guys.
It's been a different style of second quarter to the first, isn't it? The ball was moving around. There was a lot more space, and it's slowed down right now. It's more of a stoppage, repeat stoppage game.
Burgoyne tries to work his way through. Patton, here's a chance. Bruised. Across the face. Best and fairest, Joe, at any stage is a big achievement, but amazing to think the Hawks Warple last year, in his second year, ends up going home with a medal.
Yeah, he had a fantastic second year, and you just think that the trajectory that he's on and his continual improvement, he's going to be a great midfielder for the team.
Hughes down the line, and good grab taken by Sicily. Wanted to go, still wants to go quickly, has got a good one-on-one. Patton now covered, Wingard there as well, over the top, and the punch away. O'Connor tried to sweep it to the boundary line there to stop Gunston.
And Jimmy, it's almost the opposite now, where Hawthorn are really well set up behind the ball, which means they've got the opportunity to stop that ball coming out of their forward half.
Yeah, you're right, and it came off the back of Henderson's last entry. Wingard and Burgoyne were able to push back inside 50 and even up the numbers.
Stanley might have won the tap. He did well, but was misdirected. Burgoyne. A rare error. Blazes away, misses everything. So Stewart thinks about where to next. Happy to go towards the outer side. Atkins and Segler do battle. McAvoy, Stanley, knocked down in front. Scully lost it, and Burgoyne just happened to be in the right spot. Works it towards full forward. Bruce played it pretty well. It's in good hands now, and the Hawks can get their 5th. Biggest lead of the match, 19 points. This for 3 in a row for the Hawks. Gunston got the last 2 of the first term.
1 metre.
Free there, Joe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was there.
Luke Bruce. Umpire shuffles a little. Ball game has no leader. You talk about consistency and reliability. Like 30 goals in his first year, Luke Bruce. And every year can just notch him down for 30 plus. I think he's 50 plus 2 or 3 times, and he's always just there kicking goals for Hawthorn because he's always fit and ready to go. He rarely misses. He's just been such a big find.
So plenty of separation there in the Geelong coach's box. Chris Scott almost looks lonely in there. So scores level. As Hames said, got the last 3 here, the Hawks. Underway we go again. Walker being held there by Selwood, still managed to win the footy. Good smothering tackle by Narkle. Handball a little behind Smith. Guthrie the push off, got the skirting handball to Stanley. He was attacked by a couple. Smith initially had a little bit of trouble picking it up. Hanrahan pushed it along the ground and Mitchell got boot on ball, and a good juggling mark. Difficult one for Blitzarves, and immediately out to Graham Myers.
Mitchell, 9th disposal of the night. You just wonder whether the break was good for Tom Mitchell or not. We know he had such a long period off, came back, played round 1, 25 touches and 9 clearances, and then another long break. Ball spills on the outer side. Somehow O'Brien got it and quickly got boot to ball. O'Connor flew. Jack Henry stood his ground. Blitzarves came and gave them both a bit of support. Narkle feeds it up. Well done, Henry. Took it cleanly. Took too long. Burgoyne at 37 runs him down.
Thank you. Clear.
Have a look at him. Just lands the right spot. Knocks it towards Morrison. Tries to burst his way through. Here's a chance. Gunston's got a couple. Across the face. Out of bounds.
Hey, just every time he goes near the ball, Sean Burgoyne, you think something good's going to happen. And for the Cats, it's been a quiet start for Ablett, Selwood and Dangerfield. They've only had 1 disposal between them in this second quarter.
50 metres here. Patton thought he was going to play on to the corridor side, went over to protect it too much, and the 50-metre penalty thus for Harry Taylor. Centre-half back here. Short little ball to Selwood.
3 metres back,
Selwood in front of Sicily. O'Connor wide, Lex inside, risky kick, got to be good. Hawkins and Wingard should beat him in the air. Offhand Puopolo, as quick as anything to Scully. Scully moves the ball quickly, and here they go once again, the Hawks. Impressive, beautiful pick up by Wingard. Left foot kick it, goal! Missed. So 9 goals in the first quarter, 1 in the second, but we've had plenty of misses, I must admit, in this second quarter.
Just affected his kick there a little bit, but it was actually his interception in the middle of the ground that gave him that opportunity to get the shot on goal. So the defence starts offence.
And Hawks fans might have been thinking he was unlucky not to get another crack at the goal. I reckon the push might have come a little late. Umpire didn't think so. Stratton knocks it down. Mitchell in the tackle, got the handball away. Up it comes to Stratton. From skipper to skipper, and now Selwood. Finds Tui. To Blitzarves, or to Stewart. Blitzarves 3 or 4 metres away, calling and giving instructions. Stewart sends it to the father for the second time during the week, Reece Stanley, and then over the top he goes. Falls in a tough spot for Dalhouse, and McAvoy in the end with the height and the strength. Heard you talking to Alistair Clarkson before the game, who was speaking about how both McAvoy and Segler were so good they needed to be both on the ground at the same time. They just needed to become flexible and versatile.
Yep. If he can continue this work, McAvoy, he'll be a big assistance down back, as Frost to Bruce did well initially after it bounced off his chest. Now Henderson gets some real space here. Duncan starting to close but won't get him. Gee, Henderson's run a long way. And Brett Roseberry says a little bit too long. Just caught in two minds then, wasn't he, whether to bounce it or not. And that's a good run. So Duncan with the free at half-back. Both teams finding it hard to find that open space that they did in the first quarter. Slides it down the line. Up goes Radaglia. There's the train from Hamilton in the background.
You saw in the end that the free kick for Henderson running too far was given, but Segler got there and put the bump on Duncan. You speak about the work by the ruckman off the ball. Great example of it. Stratton, Radaglia flew. Morrison ended up with the ball, but given no chance. Tackle was immediate. Off comes the master. Well, no, he's going back to the pack now. He started heading towards the bench and then doubled back towards the play. Guthrie breaks inside 50, feeds it to Ablett. Ablett has to get around Frost, gets rid of the handball. Myers, short ball went nowhere. Scully, got to be quick. He was quick enough, works it back into the middle. Long wait for O'Connor.
So he needs to go here, O'Connor, but every Hawthorn player is in the Geelong forward half at the moment. Stewart now goes for something long. Here's Ablett elevating behind. I think it might have been Rowan. It was. Scully, quick handball out. Now it's an open field in front of them. Not much to kick to. So Warple goes wider to Hardwick. Hardwick just slows it down, concedes some ground. Warple, Sicily going back, trying to find some space. Morrison round the corner with a dribbler. Hanrahan couldn't get it. Myers. So a bit messy, that passage.
It is, and you just have a look at this. Shields has done a great job so far on Danger. He's following him everywhere. Danger isn't having the kind of impact that he would like to.
Radaglia wanted Selwood. He's had it 14 times tonight, Selwood. Radaglia did well. Myers, now Dangerfield, possession number 6. Just tries to break the tackle. Might have got a little bit lucky. Went low, the tackle. Dangerfield took a fair bit on. Now, a driving ball inside the pocket. Hawkins, Ablett, Frost. Got the kick away around the corner. Going back with a flight, Selwood, and then ball bounces, trickles towards the square. Stewart attacks it. Goes hard. Dalhouse around the body. Menegola didn't read it as well. Ablett, he read it well, kicked it well, gets the goal. Ablett's got a couple. When he came back to Geelong, everyone thought, well, he ended up in the middle. Doesn't spend all of the time there, but the sort of consensus was a couple of goals a game. He'll prove very, very valuable. He's got 2 for the night already.
Yeah, good for him, Johnny. Right, let's focus. Skills sharp. Comms up. All right. Keep helping each other. Both ways, eh? So if you're doing the same thing.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about, Burgoyne and just having him around the goals. Well, Gary's the exact same. You just want these good players who have got the experience. They know what to do and they do the right thing at the right time. Gas has kicked his second now and puts Geelong back in front.
The name G. Ablett has been creating headaches for over 30 years for the Hawks, and it goes on and on and on.
I think that was
longer. I think it's 40 years.
Yeah.
1,470 goals between them. That's probably not even in the top 1,200.
And just a terrace. You'd think it'd be a grandstand, but it's just a measly old terrace up in the forward pocket. Come on, the Cats. Build a grandstand for them. Now they go, the Hawks out of the middle. Gunston attacking this one. O'Connor. Gunston has a second go. Good effort and a third. Pushed it out in front of here of Wingard. Picked it up beautifully. Or was it Puopolo? It was the latter. Puopolo to Sicily. Sicily got rid of it and was nailed by Dalhouse. That was a little tighter. It's downfield. And this will be a shot at goal, I think, for Patton.
Go through, Brett.
His first set shot of the night.
Johnny is on his mark.
And you would imagine this kick inside left goalpost for me here, Joe. For Patton, maybe a little bit left to right, very similar to Tom Hawkins. if I'm feeling the breeze coming down the middle of the ground. This will be a lift for his confidence. 45-metre kick on the way. Magnificent. Really, really well done. Patton nails the goal and puts the Hawks back in front by a point. So that'll do wonders for his confidence, that kick, and involvement, and all from a down-the-field free kick as well. Nice when you get those. Get on the end of them. So the Hawks, 4 of the last 5 goals here, lead it by a point.
We'll have a look at John just kicking this one straight through, and will do his world of confidence. The Hawks fans are very happy to see that.
So Patton's first of the night, got one on debut as a Hawk in round 1. No football last year.
Just the centre clearances, Hamish. It's just the easiest way to get a really good opportunity to score. And we have a look at 8-5 Hawthorn out of the centre, and just puts the defence in under pressure so quickly.
Cats got the first 3 goals of the night. They did get out to a 19-point lead. If you're just joining us, 3 lead changes for the night. And the Hawks in front by 1. Narkle to Stanley. Quick hands to Tui.
Downfield.
Gee.
What was that?
That was...
Come on.
They play on here.
Dalhouse fires at goal. Umpire shuffles. Quick response. Cats back in front. So, BT, you saw that, I think. I was watching further down the field.
It was barely a bump.
Was it on Tui after he kicked the footy?
Yep. Barely a bump it was. And very lucky to be a down-the-field free.
Well, Dalhouse, you could see, thought that he was probably lucky to sneak it in. He sort of was thinking that was a little bit too close for comfort, but Cats back in front by 5.
That's the down-the-field free kick there, and resulted in this play. A bit sloppy from the Cats, but tidied up by Dalhouse to kick his second.
Cats lucky, Joe.
Didn't look like there was a lot of heavy contact from me. But you got to play to the whistle.
Yep.
And that's what they've done.
2 goals apiece, second quarter. Cats by 5. Stanley to Dangerfield was nice. Shields wearing me like a glove, although Dangerfield able to escape on this occasion out wide to Atkins and Ablett. Bad bounce for both of those, and Frost did well, and Geelong wanting deliberate. And have got the free as well. Kick back inside, high ball too far for Hawkins. Frawley had to nail the handball. He did to Mitchell. Now Mitchell around the corner, 2-on-2 here. Blitzarves extends the fist nicely and got it to the boundary. 2 minutes left in the half.
Back, Isaac. Cheers.
Danger on screen. 7 disposals in game, 250. No doubt keen to make an impact soon. Shields given the job of stopping the influence and has done a good job so far. Atkins clever to Parfitt. Hurried ball forward. Rattigalia waits for the bounce. McAvoy just shadowed him. Here's a chance for Ablett. Already kicked the goal in this term. Ablett. Rare mistake from Gary.
Didn't look like he'd lost any of his speed as he was going there, did he?
Sicily gets the Hawks underway.
Yeah, it goes out wide. O'Brien over the top of Tui was good, but O'Connor's at the back. He turns to the boundary line. Boundary line's your friend when you're under pressure. Got it to Stewart here. Stewart high ball in. Lost it. McAvoy couldn't see it because of the lights. Little one here to Parfitt. Started the game on fire. Henderson got a minute 22 left in the half. Here go the Hawks through Wingard. Pulled the kick. Found Burgoyne. Couldn't get it. Stewart knock off. Tui fumbled it. Now Stewart again. Long ball. Watch for Dangerfield, but in front.
Frost happy just to back his speed too, runs away from Ablett. Terrific kick, puts it to Scully. Swings the ball to Mitchell. Great to see him back, and then into the hands of Gunston. Still time for the Hawks, just on a minute. Mitchell back inside again. Edge of the square is Morrison. Low ball, just a little bit too hot in the end. O'Brien, quick hands, wanted Wingard, found him. Chance for Burgoyne. Stewart, Blitzarves towards Atkins. Burgoyne just holds him up. Taylor. A little bit too much height, perhaps. Radaglia, was he pushed underneath? I think he was. Cats might get out of trouble. 30 to play before half-time. Looks like they'll be happy just to mop up a little of the clock. They lead by one straight kick. Radaglia, Taylor, now to Jack Henry. Time against the Cats, Duncan.
Okay, John.
So they did lead by 19 points. That was after Selwood kicked the Cats fifth. Gunston got a couple before quarter time. Bruce got the first of the second term. Then Ablett traded goals with Patton and then Dalhouse. So 7-4 to 6-4. And last night, BT, goals were pretty hard to come by. 10 in total, 13 to the half. Clarko speaks with his skipper coming up at half-time.
So it was 7 points of difference at quarter time, and now it's a goal of difference. Geelong in front of Hawthorn. About 4 or 5 changes of lead in that quarter, and we've got a pretty good game going on down at the Kardinia at GMHBA Stadium. Dennis, looking up at the players coming together at halftime over your shoulder there, Rui. So the team's just going off the ground. There's a bit of niggle in the game, not too much, but all in all, it's been a very entertaining half of football.
It's been a great first half, I thought, Rui. I was really worried early. Geelong jumped out of the blocks and it looked like it might be one-sided. The Hawks have fought back. But what we are seeing is an open attacking game, which I know everyone's been wanting. Gil McLaughlin's been asking the coaches to try and find a way to do it. What's happening tonight, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been a really good standard. You can tell the players they've been cleaner tonight than they were last night. I think that's given teams an opportunity to score much more readily. First quarter, a lot of scores from stoppage. So what that means is when you're scoring from stoppage, teams are less likely to have had the ability to set up really strongly behind the ball. Whereas in the second quarter, when the scoring dried up a little bit more, it was just ping-ponging back and forth. And we know both of those teams, Hawthorn and Geelong, are really good when they're able to get numbers behind the ball. So hopefully third quarter represents a little bit more of what we saw in the first.
Boys, it's a goal the difference at half-time, and they had a goal on the board within 30 seconds, Geelong, and the opening bounce of this comeback to football. Let's have a look thanks to Zero Lab. And the bloke who was red hot at the start was Reece Stanley, your old teammate.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's always had these capabilities to be able to impact the game really strongly with his athleticism. And you can see that in his follow-up there for a big man. He's incredibly agile and strong and quick. So he started the game really well, but Big Segler was able to work his way back into the contest late in the first quarter.
Really important fight back from Segler. He started to get a couple of clearances himself. He contributed to a few forays forward, and actually I thought he got on top after what he basically didn't touch it in the first half of the first quarter. It looked like Stanley was just going to dominate the entire contest. So that's been a really good battle, those two, Ed.
As you said, both of them out of the centre breaks with good handballs that set up goals from centre break through the big sticks. Let's have a look at the Cats' small forwards. Always dangerous. Jason, your thoughts?
Well, when the ball's hit the ground, they've been dangerous. When they've been one-on-one, they've forced free kicks. That was the first goal of the game. That's the one that happened in about 15 seconds. And then what we have seen is a readiness from the umpires to pay infringements, which I like.
They've all been there.
I think everything bar one probably free kick for the night has been there. And, you know, we've seen a few players getting held. They whinge about giving the free kick away, but really we've sat there and said, yep, that's a free kick. That's the one that I didn't think should have been. I thought O'Brien did really well coming back with the flight of the ball, had his eyes on it and spoiled the ball. But all the other ones had been free kicks. Ablett, he's just clever. Nearly kicked his third just before half-time. They nearly made a botch of that one, but another couple now for Dalhouse. So they're getting a good return from their smalls.
Yeah, we identified it in the pre-game, didn't we, with that small forward line. What would that do to Hawthorn? It's hard to really pick a winner at the moment out of that part of the ground. But Ablett 2, Dalhouse 2 and Atkins have hit the scoreboard, but at times McAvoy and Frost have looked really strong in the air, intercepting the footy as well.
Josh, a lot of pressure around the ball these days. There's a lot of commentators who say umpires should go back to the old days, give plenty of free kicks, get it going, be able to get back, have your kick to a position, move it forward, as opposed to, you know, bouncing it off your leg and just hacking it forward and the tackles and things and handballs going back and forth. Well, you liked what you saw tonight from the umpiring, didn't you?
Yeah, look, don't pay free kicks if they're not there, but if they are there, and we've spoken mostly about the ones that have been in the forward 50, and sometimes we sort of bitch and moan about some free kicks not being paid because they're in certain parts of the ground. They've seen them and paid them, and I've been impressed with it. I haven't seen too many hold-ups in the midfield. I think it's been a good contest. They've tried to keep the ball moving, so I've got no complaints whatsoever. I think the umpires should be given a really big tick for what they've done.
You want to get back out there when they're paying them like that.
All right, boys, you said you couldn't pick a winner. Let's see if Billy Brownless can, because Billy is working tonight for PointsBet.
Thanks, Eddie, and bad luck about last night, mate. What about those mighty Cats? I tell you, they can go all the way this year. They have the lead at half-time, so anyone who backed them to beat the Hawks at PointsBet have already been paid out as a winner. It's PointsBet's early payout on head-to-head bets. If your team leads at half-time, you win. Simple as that. Last night we paid out over $400,000 to Collingwood punters after they led at half-time before, of course, drawing that game. If you like having a punt on the footy, you want to be betting with PointsBet because this early payout is sensational. It's on all Thursday, Friday and Saturday night footy games all season long. So jump online, download the PointsBet app right now and gamble responsibly.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox.
Don't forget the bounce. Josie should be telling me all about this, mate. How about that? There you are. Great show. Congratulations. So much fun with the bounce. Ready to go again. Can't wait for it. Sunday night. There it is, right after the footy. Let's go to Johnny Ralph now from the Herald Sun. Now, Ralph, just before you go, I've just got a media release from the AFL. 1.62 million people average watching last night, Collingwood and Richmond. 2 million peaked nationally. That's the highest home and away game on free-to-air and here on the mighty Foxtel since Anzac Day 2013 and the highest Thursday night football ever. So there you go. What a way to start the season again. Bang!
That's the good news. The bad news is 4 COVID breaches in 2 days, Ed. So the latest duo are Melbourne's Keziah Pickett and also Charlie Spargo. Now, my understanding is that they went to a barbecue at a mate's place, about 10 or less people, but they also went in an Uber. So both of those things are banned. A very easy decision for the AFL. Nick, I might ask you quickly, would they have known the rules and just breached them, or would they just maybe be unwittingly breaching it? Surely a game of AFL footy you've waited 10 weeks for is important enough not to go out to a mate's place.
Yeah, Ralphie, we know that the laws or the rules put in place by the AFL on the players, they're bordering on draconian, but that is just how serious this matter is for the league and for all of the clubs. We need the league and the clubs to be able to prosper by playing games of footy, so that's why they're in place. You have to understand, though, that amongst a football club and a playing list, there are guys that are different ages and different levels of understanding and responsibility, so these are going to happen. I think initially, now that we've seen the ramifications and the fact that the league is actually going to come down super hard on them and suspend them, that I think we'll see them dry up completely.
Yeah. Spargo's from Melbourne Grammar. They have a very good social scene around the old Melbourne Grammar old boys too. So
might be too good to resist.
Can I just say this, Ralphie, for all the players who'll be watching tonight on Fox Footy, see this thing in my hand. It's called a phone, and people everywhere are trying to trap you at the moment. Be careful out there. In fact, just don't do it. Not be careful. Don't do it, because everyone at the moment is a spy, and they're all looking to take photos of you. Just stay inside. It hopefully will open up in the next couple of weeks. Ralphie, what else?
Yeah, especially if you want to play golf and surf, of course, after the round 2 review. Now, the AFL is holding firm on its 16-minute quarters. Now, a lot of criticism, some from broadcasters, from fans, and also from the likes of Jack Roywood, who just said the game last night was too short. Having spoken to senior officials at the AFL, they're citing integrity concerns. Clearly, the fact that we might have to play more games in less time, maybe 5-day breaks later on in the season. I think if they had their time again, they're aware of the fact they'd probably have 20-minute quarters, but just can't change them. Jason, if you were Gillon McLachlan, what would you do after round 2?
I think they've made the commitment to say it's going to be this way for the season. You need to do that. There are circumstances that I guess, basically forced their hand. I think what it has done is shown us clearly when we get back to next season, we'll be going back to normal time games. I think that's what everyone wants. It's what the players want. It's what the fans want. It's what the broadcasters want. So I don't think there's a strong argument against it, Ed.
Having said that, I mean, tonight's going well. Yeah. I think one of the things they need to look at, Jace, is the time on, when they play time. And when you played, the ball went over the line out of bounds, the clock kept going. They throw it back in quickly. And also when there was a ball up, for example, the clock would keep going. So you had less actual time of whacking in, but the quarters were the right length, if you like.
The integrity argument doesn't... It's nonsensical, though, because teams didn't prepare this year contingent on 16-minute quarters. So if it's the same for everyone moving forward, well, then why is integrity an issue?
Yeah, don't know. Don't know.
Ralphie, anything else to finish on, mate?
Yeah, I think on the list of crazy things that the AFL could do, it'd be about 1,000th, so I'd love them to do it. Now, Ed, Scotty Morrison says crowds of 10,000 will be allowed at AFL venues from July on. Seems familiar. You told us that a couple of days ago. I've spoken to the Victorian State Government today. They're very much of the view that it is their decision, along with the Chief Health Officer, but they're open to fans from round 5. They said tonight, we are working with codes to see fans at the footy as safe as it is possible. You play in round 5, Collingwood, Essendon, on a Friday night on June 3. Any chance of 10,000? Any chance you might be able to just get some fans into that game, even though it's probably a week too early?
We might have to ask the Premier. He's an Essendon supporter. He might want to go to the footy on a Friday night. He held firm on the golf, though. Look, the thing is, everybody knows, Ralphie, what's going on at the moment, and that is we have to wait 2 weeks after the protest from last week to just see if there's been a spike. And you know what? It might have been the best test case we've ever had.
Provided we pass it.
Providing we pass it. Providing we get across the line. But, yeah, the mail from inside that I reported the other day is very strongly, no dribs and drabs. If we can come back with a big hit and we're safe to go, then that's the way everybody wants to do it, because, to be perfectly honest, it costs a fortune. You nearly have as many security there to make sure no one's sitting next to each other with 1,000 people, rather than actually getting people in, particularly at the MCG and at Marvel Stadiums, or the AFL venues for that matter. But fingers crossed, let's get cracking. Ralphie, thank you for everything, mate. John Ralph has been updating us with all the news. Let's go to Brad Johnson now down at HBA Stadium. And Jono, the Selwood boys there's always something going on down there, and Joel's always in the thick of it, isn't he?
He certainly is, but he's playing a great game here. His first half was excellent, and look, he's playing on some quality opponents too, in Tom Mitchell and James Worpel through the midfield, and he really has set the tone in that area. I know he pushed forward, he kicked that goal, but around the stoppage, he's locking in. And I remember a couple of years ago when I was down here, a young James Worpel ran down and tackled a Joel Selwood at training, and his teammates gave it to him. And it's like we've been watching The Last Dance and Jordan, and he hadn't forgotten Jordan about what his opponents had said or done to him in the past. It's like that with Joel Selwood in a way. He sort of said to himself, I'm not going to let this young James Worpel have any type of impact on me again in this game. We know that he won that 50-50 ball to kick that goal against Joel at the MCG a few years ago. And it's like now Joel said, enough is enough. And he really has stood up in this game. He needs some help in the midfield, though, because Worpel and Mitchell in the last 5 minutes started to get a bit of ball. And he needs Dangerfield to try and break the tag. He needs Guthrie to find a bit more ball, along with young Narkle, just to give him some support in this second half.
Good on you, Jono. Not looking like it's getting any warmer down there, mate. Have we got down to 0 yet?
I'm not looking at the temperature. I can't feel my feet, but other than that, it's all good, mate. I'm at the footy. Couldn't be happier.
Cardboard in your shoes, mate. That's the old secret. Good on you,
that's
mate.
it.
Good on you, Jono. We'll come back to you a little bit later on. Boys, before we get ready to go for the second half, Hawthorn, Jace, I'll put this to you. They don't look like they've clicked yet, but they're a goal behind and ready to pounce.
Yeah, they're finding a way to stay in the contest. I think Jono made a really salient point there. If Joel Selwood was all of a sudden to get some support in the midfield, I think there's an opportunity for Geelong to go bang, bang, bang and maybe open up a little bit of space. It just seems at times they've created goals a little easier than the Hawks have. But I think the job that Shields is doing on Dangerfield has been exceptional.
That's the one. So we've seen... I'll go back to Dustin Martin. We spoke about it in the pre-game. Dustin Martin, within games or within passages of play even from the midfield, he'll just hold position as a forward and almost force Shields to come with him, because through the midfield, it's a lot easier to tag if you're a little bit smaller. But plonk them inside 50, he'll be severely undersized and outmatched. So I think that's what...
force a handover is what
Well,
happened.
yeah, but in general play, it's a lot more difficult to actually communicate and execute that handover. So I think he should try that.
OK, boys, it's 7-4, 46 to 6-4, 40. Cats lead by a goal. They led by 7 points at quarter time. We'll hopefully get some pictures here down at GMHBA. Look at that beautiful sight down there. It's a clear night, there's no doubt about it. That's why it's so cold, but it's pretty much perfect conditions for football. We'll come back with the second half of this game, round 2 footy on Friday night on Fox.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox.
Don't forget tomorrow, Saturday Countdown live from 12 o'clock. Hutto, Kingy, Romo, there he is. And the big D himself, Dermot Brereton. Great fun, but more importantly, some great discussion as well about the AFL as we build into a Saturday of football. Can you believe it? We're back. It just feels so long ago. It's almost like we're practising. It's like practice matches almost in a lot of ways. Great night last night at the MCG, the draw between Collingwood and Richmond, and now just a kick in it at half-time, Hawthorn and Geelong, these two great modern-day rivals.
Yeah, and we're seeing a great contest and plenty of niggle as well. We know these two have built such a strong rivalry on big games, big stages, and a lot of niggle throughout what has been a strong decade of footy for both clubs. But it's looked like spilling over a couple times tonight.
It does, but mind you, we're just scratching the surface. There's a big weekend of footy ahead. I'm doing the Melbourne-Carlton game tomorrow. That Melbourne-Carlton game is going to be a cracker, Ed. I'm looking forward to doing that. And Mark Howard's calling his first game on Fox Footy. He'll be home watching Howard because he's a very keen Hawthorn man. Yeah. But two teams that I'm not quite sure where they fit. It's going to be a really good one.
Do you think they know where they fit?
True.
Has anyone told Mark Howard that we don't allow thongs in the
loves his Hong Kong, doesn't he?
Jeez, that's all he ever wears, the thongs. It might even be too cold for thongs for Howie tomorrow. It's going well. We're about 30 seconds away from the bounce here. As you can see, everybody's in position, ready to go.
Segler and Stanley back in the middle of the ground. That could be pivotal to what happens in this third term, and Shields on Danger.
That's the other matchup that we're really looking for. Danger, proud man, 250th game. He'll have had a look at the stats. He'll know exactly what's going. Won't even had to have looked at the stats. He'll know what's happening there, and so will Shield. So there's been a bit of niggle. We saw Selwood try and give Shield one just before half-time, just to get him off his game, but he's absolutely focused and ready to go. And so too are we in the second half from Geelong.
Okay, underway. Second half. Gee, look at that. Roving from the opposition ruckman was Stanley. Long ball, Radagalia caught a little too deep. Frawley got a bad bounce. Through came Frost. Just got it out of the danger zone. Dangerfield a chance to gather, but the moment he did, Shields was nailing him in the tackle. Zach Smith knocks it in the direction of Sicily. His kick was smothered. Ablett lurking. Myers caught one high. Goes to Dalhouse. Fast handball. Selwood was nailed by Shields. Eventually, somehow it came out. Little kick by Dalhouse. Got it into a bit of space. Rowan beaten to the ball. Athletic by Frost. Underground handball. Intercepted by Dangerfield. Kicks it towards Radagalia. In front of big boy McAvoy. Radagalia boot the ball. Hit the back of the goalpost. And a minor score.
He's such a beautiful mover, the Saba Radagalia. I mean, he's just fabulous leap. Keeps his feet a lot of the time. Almost an absolute gem. So Cats by 7 points, early going in the third term.
On the ball, Hawthorn.
Henry gets pinged and the Hawks through Puopolo. Gunston. Kicked the last two the first term. Got the Hawks back within 7. Towards half forward. Segler, O'Brien. So O'Brien now can go searching. Long ball over the top. Here's a chance. Burgoyne. Blitzarves had the height, never took his eyes off the ball. Myers.
Oh, thanks, James.
Sicily bouncing around on the mark. Myers to O'Connor. Game 32 for O'Connor, and really making a mark. To the wing. Ablett watches on. He thought he might get fed a few crumbs, not to be. Hawkins. Little one over the top. Now Ablett. Helps Duncan out, gives a bit of support. Duncan over the top.
It was a great effort by Ablett to shepherd, and now he gets the result of that. And look at that. Stanley somehow all alone. Ablett gives it on, and Stanley kicks his second. Ablett's effort in clearing the way there initially for that mark to be taken, and then getting out of the action zone to get on the end of it, and then the kick to Stanley, superb. 13-point lead here with the Cats. Reece Stanley having a good game as well, as Job has mentioned a couple of times tonight, both ruckmen going well.
We've talked about him in the first half. Gary just being able to make the right decision, and Geelong were actually able to take their first two contested marks for the game, Blitzarves and Hawkins, which led to the ball being in the half-forward flank. Their ability to take those marks has meant that the ball was able to move rather than getting held up in that Hawthorn forward 50. So
the little things Gary Ablett's doing off the ball are really paying off, and Stanley's got his second. Not unlike most athletes, he's a player that thrives on confidence, and he should be feeling pretty good about himself right now. Second child during the week, couple of goals, early going third term. Cats at a 13-point lead. Stanley back in the side after missing round one. Here he goes again, tries to get boot to ball, ends up dropping it low, and Selwood towards Gary Rowan, not quite. Dalhouse missed out. Menegola feeds it through. Myers on his left boot. Another for the Cats, yes sir. Stanley then Myers out to 19 points. Not unlike the first term when the Cats were heading towards the players' stand. Dalhouse got the first, then Stanley. This time Stanley, and now Myers in quick time. Back out to an equal game-high lead of 19 points. So for all the good work that Hawthorn did, whittling the margin down and getting themselves back in front, Cats by 19.
We just look at the stoppage here, and again, the ruckman getting involved, Joel being able to get the ball on his boot, get it forward. We talked earlier about being able to score out of clearances. Beautiful pick-up, and then a wonderful finish on his left foot. But Hamish, I don't know whether or not it's got something to do with the shortened quarters, but these ruckmen, they're on fire, both of them having a real influence in the game.
Absolutely.
So both goals in this third quarter, 3 in a row for the Cats, back out to 19 points.
I'll have that one back, guys. Thanks.
Umpires tonight, Brett Roseberry, Curtis de Boyd, John Howarth and Brent Wallace. Reece Stanley on fire. Big chance here, knocks it down the path of Selwood again. Selwood sold it out to the left, turned back right. Now Narkle gives Dangerfield a bit of a chase. What about the glove on that? Reeled it in magnificently, did Danger. The short ball to Selwood. Went down, recovery was good. Handball to Stewart. Duncan should have kept running on the outside. Now he does. Loopy handball to Dalhouse. They get it inside. Radically, it won't get there. Frawley did well to break it up.
He quickly plays on for the Hawks. A chance for Scully, did well, stood his ground. Now to Mitchell. The Hawks, they're getting outnumbered on the other side. Hanrahan had to be quick and was. Shields around the corner, bouncing ball. Tricky enough for Patton. Jack Henry rides him hard. Dangerfield picks up. Swings it wide. Blitzarves quickly back with the left to Menegola. Around the corner to half forward. McAvoy watches on. Stratton and Radaglia do battle. Boundary line has the win.
Just Josh Howard's, he's having a real influence on this game. He's the leading disposal getter for Geelong, but he's also had 7 clearances and 3 score involvements and kicked a goal himself. And he's just getting himself right where the ball needs to be in these contested situations.
Yeah, 18 touches for him, Job, you're right. The best on ground at the moment in terms of possessions has Ablett, just so clean and classy. No one lays a glove on him. Up they go. Duncan couldn't hold the mark. Wingard got one high by Guthrie. So Wingard here in the back half for the Hawks.
Behind the mark. Over there.
Very, very slight breeze pushing into the Hawks to the left of screen. Goes out wide looking for Patton, won't reach him. Ablett in front, probably should have taken that. Narkle back to Blitzarves, and it'll be a Narkle free here.
Thanks, Pat. John.
He's back, said the umpire. On the Toyota logo. Narkle now hammers it, looking for a long ball in front, couldn't bring it down on that occasion. Rowan had a couple of opportunities. Ablett spun a little circle. No one knew he was going to do that. Now Narkle, neat little ball, looking for Rowan again. Tried to mark off hands. Morrison was there. Went to ground, little handball. Stanley. Stanley, high kick. Radaglia, or is it Menegola? Over the back, it's Duncan. Duncan along the ground dribbles it. Geelong have got 3 in the quarter, and they lead it by 25 points. An awkward slip there by Gary Rowan. Bit of a hobble there. I think he'll be okay. Come off the ground and just get that checked. So the Cats on fire here at the moment.
Oh, go left.
They've kicked the first 3 of this third term, the last 4 of the match, and 5 of the last 6.
They were crossed.
We have a look here on the replay. Gary Rowan, really awkward twist and then getting almost thrown back in the tackle and his foot trapped underneath him. He's just getting looked at now by the Geelong club doctor, but hasn't gone down the rooms.
Let's hope things are okay with Gary Rowan. So, first 3 goals of this third term going the way of the Cats, the last of the second. So 4 in a row for the match and 5 of the last 6 for Geelong. 6-point margin at half-time. Now becomes 25. They want some more. Guthrie to Dangerfield. On the left, Parfitt. Beaten to it by Sicily, did well. Hardwick clever off the ground. Well, maybe not because it's gone towards the boundary line.
Hold that, Chad.
So the Cats will reload. Dangerfield, gained 250. 13th disposal to Stewart.
We just saw it's already 3 zip to centre glance clearances for Geelong, and they're just putting Hawthorn under immediate pressure.
Menegola and Ablett both sort of push Sicily under the football. Ball sails over the heads of all 3.
Done it well in their structures in the centre bounce there, Joe. The hit back from Reece Stanley, taking advantage of his big leap. They've been getting Selwood, Narkle, like a 2-on-1 in those centre bounce contests.
Radigalia to space. Scully was the man who it favoured. Swings around on his left into the middle. Well read. Hughes tumbles the ball forward on his left. Early leap from Hardwick. Menegola will line up from about 40 out. Directly in front. Catch maybe. 5 in a row for the match. 4 in a row in the third term.
Interestingly enough, it hasn't been the Cats bigs that have hit the scoreboard. It's actually been the smaller players who've been the ones converting. Stanley's kicked a couple from as a ruckman, but Radigalia and Hawkins haven't been the ones that have hit the scoreboard. It's been the smaller players who have been the ones that have been kicking the goals.
Menegola, he does make it 4 in a row in the third term, and they're out to 31-point lead. Haven't things changed quickly early in this third term? So they've suddenly gone from an arm wrestle to having a bit of breathing space. 4 on the bounce. Stanley got the first, then Myers, then Duncan, and then Menegola. 4 lead changes leading up to half-time. 4 goals on the bounce for the Cats.
Hughes did well to get the footy forward initially, didn't he? And once again playing in front of Hardwick. 4 in a row here to open this quarter, 5 in total consecutively. The man in the middle was a little delayed, but nevertheless he got there in the end.
He was just making sure.
Yes. He was uncertain whether it was a goal. Here's Warple. Good hands, great hands. Brust under Guthrie pressure.
Correct disposal.
And Brett Roseberry says to Cam Guthrie, your ball. Half back here. Guthrie short, finds an opportunity here with Narkle. Narkle now looks out wide. Long ball again, Dalhouse there. In comes Dangerfield, he was about 4 deep. Off hands, did well, Parfitt. Got it to Myers. Myers around the corner to the goal square. Stanley couldn't get there. Will that be a hold?
Segler.
It'll go to Segler. Could have gone either way. And Segler in the last line of defence.
Beautiful handball by Parfitt, wasn't it? Just roved it beautifully. Saw the runner on his outside and hit him, and unfortunately didn't eventuate anything, but you love seeing good skill.
Patton got a goal late in that second term, got the Hawks in front. Dalhouse got the last of the second, and then 4 in a row to the Cats. So a big swing in momentum in the last 15 minutes of football. Selwood over the top to Tui, long sleeves. Cut off in the end. Sicily. Only Hawk last year in the All-Australian squad of 40. To the wing. O'Brien. Big leap, not quite through fingers. Again, a chance for Tui. Bruce Doesn't let him get rid of the football, at least not initially. Still struggles with the ball to him. Umpire lets it roll. Throw it up in front of us. Sean Burgoyne keen to get back out onto the ground. Jonathan Patton will give him that opportunity. And here he comes. Equals Simon Madden for all-time games played. Equal number 6. He works the ball forward again. Can he break the ball back into play? Skips over.
Since the Patton goal, 20-minute mark of the second quarter home, it's been 18-2 inside 50s to the Cats. They've dominated since that moment. Looking at Gaz there, not far off playing his 350th. In fact, it looks like he and Joel Selwood, he'll play his 350th. Joel Selwood will play his 300th in the same game. A few games away. Radicalea, what a day that'll be for the Cats. What a day.
If it all plays out as we think it will, 300 and 350 against the Suns here, hopefully in front of a few people, fingers crossed.
Yep.
I know things are changing by the minute. I'm not sure if there's going to be a chair off allowed or not.
Tui, well, that'll be in July, so they'll be able to get a few in here at least.
Let's hope.
2 more metres.
Ablett on, Myers off in that exchange. Sicily with the footy right in the interchange area. Hawks in desperate need of some action here. O'Brien working his way to the front, got both hands on it. Now the follow-up at ground level as well. Pushed it on. The Cats can go here. They can explode out of the blocks. Parfit, look at this. Dalhouse down the ground. He's put it between the two. The Hawks close on him, and Frost just bowls him over. Well done. Risky, though. Handball to Stratton. Took a long time to turn the corner and get it. In that time, Dangerfield had dived on it. And Rowan has a go. And they keep it inside their forward 50.
Job, the Hawks got very lucky then. Danger was streaming towards goal, all on his lonesome. They couldn't take the ball cleanly and put it over the top.
No, and in fairness, it was a good decision from the Hawthorn defender because he's thought to himself, if I go here, I've got to influence the ball, and he did it, and he saved a certain goal.
Segler gains about 15 metres, knocked it towards Hanrahan. Parfit, who's had a big night, runs into Radicalea, gets rid of Radicalea, gets rid of the football, goes back to O'Connor, off a step, long ball inside 50. Dangerfield, not quite. Smith, clean, and then ran straight into trouble.
On the ball.
Had the option to unload, took on Dangerfield. Danger
On the ball, try to evade.
can have a look at his first of the night. He's got a minor score only.
Straight to Pat.
I think he thought his body momentum might be able to bust that tackle, but
he's got a big chest, Danger, isn't he?
Yes.
He can absorb a fair bit.
Right here.
So Dangerfield, what a career game. 250 tonight, a Brownlow medal, runner-up last year, 7 All-Australians in the last 8 years. Over a goal a game, almost a Brownlow vote a game. No grand final at any level, ever. He'd love to change that. All he can do is help the Cats win, and he's helping them do that now, out to 37 points. What a change. The inside 50 count you alluded to, BT, since that Patton goal, completely changed.
Yep.
It was 18-2 when you mentioned it a few moments ago. Another goal to the Cats, and suddenly Hawks find themselves in real trouble.
One of the players I've been really impressed with tonight has been Brandon Parfit, and he hasn't had a huge amount of the ball, 12 disposals, but he's had 7 tackles, 7 clearances, and he's one of those players that Chris Scott's talking about, is that getting more numbers through the middle of the ground and keeping speed around the ball and influence, and he's been really impressive tonight.
That's some good heavy work with those stats.
And a great sign. He was an emergency BT in the opening round.
Yep, and he's really got that hair tight into the scalp, hasn't he? He's really...
Back, guys.
These guys reset.
Thanks, guys.
Very tightly knitted sort of job there.
And guys, they signalled at the start of the year, of course, with Gary playing a lot more half forward. The Parfit, who spent his first part of his career as a forward, they've almost swapped roles now as far as, you know, time splits mid-forward.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Me.
Brust, little one here. In front. Wingard got the handball off the Gunston. He's caught. Had the awareness to get rid of it. Puopolo on ground. No one came at him, so he's able to get to his feet. Gives it off to Gunston. High ball. Who wants this? Not 15, won't be counted as a mark, so Burgoyne has a crack at it. Oh, Wingard, he's gone Kung Fu style on Atkins.
Okay,
And that might be the old studs up job. And Harry Taylor says, you can't do that, mate. You can't do that. And Brett Rosebery there, understanding it, and free kick. I don't think any malice intended, but just using it to protect himself, I think, hey?
Let's hope. 7 leading disposal winners in this third term, all wearing the hoops. Ablett over the top. Have a look at the delivery. So Dangerfield looking for back-to-back goals. You talk about a good user of the football. Danger, you just go over there. I'll put it right there for you.
And it might look simple when you've got 2 options and you're running at full speed. You've got a Hawthorn player who's trying to defend both of them. It's still really difficult to actually execute and put it in the right spot. And I mean, you don't need to celebrate Gary's career and what he's done, but he just makes the right decisions all the time.
Dangerfield. Almost.
Gaz wanted it back then, and Danger said, no, I'm locked into set shot mode here.
He said, I've been making the right decisions all my career.
When Gary Ablett and Harry Taylor announced that they were going to play on again this year, it was just before the Geelong Best and Fairest, and they talked about it on the night. It was just almost a standing ovation for both players, the love for Gary and for Harry, and we think, you know, that's probably it for both, and let's see what they can do in their final year.
Isaac Smith, Wingard, good body position, but they're the man as you speak of, Harry Taylor, able to just drift in. Sideways ball to Henry, they can go, got numbers out wide. A little slow and moving it out there, but now to blitz halves. Short little kick, very wide to Puffett. With half back. Patient here for the Cats. They've so far had a 5-goal quarter. Hawks haven't got one. And a goal up. Bit of a nonchalant handball to Selwood. Funny little one to Tui. Just getting a little Hollywood now. As Burgoyne tidies up Mitchell. Handball to the left foot of Scully. Short little ball to Wingard. 55 out. Good kick, Wingard. O'Brien's mark directly in front, but will have to kick at 45. So Tim O'Brien in game 64 looking for goal 51.
15 gone. Sean.
Good control by Scully to Wingard, and likewise the kick from Wingard to O'Brien, who lines up directly in front of goal. A little bit of wind just pushing straight into his face, not much. In desperate need here, the Hawks. That looks online, looks good. It's got the length as well. So the Hawks get their first of the quarter, some 21 minutes in.
Come on, boys. Finish up.
O'Brien cuts the lead back to 32 points. But there's a fair bit of damage that's been done in the meantime. Good kick by O'Brien. Solid, made really good contact.
Beautiful kick for goal. It was a great kick by Wingard. Just changed the angle, lowered the ice, and you see the Hawthorn supporters. They're excited at home. Need to get a couple more before three-quarter time, you'd think.
The Cats had kicked 6 in a row, the last of the second, and the first 5 of this third term. O'Brien wearing that famous number 23 for the Hawks. Buddy and Dermott and Don Scott, amongst others, who have worn it so brilliantly. Stanley to a bit of space. Selwood runs into it, picks up under immense pressure, and handballs in the Menegola direction. Misses him. Mitchell just pauses for the moment. Parfitt, big tackle. Ablett tries to scoop it up. It's knocked towards Menegola, outside of the boot. Duncan inside. Parfitt had a big night. Looks to finish off with a goal. Goes sailing over the line, out of bounds on the full.
Back to the 9-pack.
He's been impressive though, hasn't he? He's worked great to do the defensive stuff in the middle there, and then gets rewarded on the end.
Now, I didn't see him early in the season. He didn't play in round 1, but I think BT looks leaner than he's ever looked before, Brandon Parfitt.
Yeah, he certainly looks hungry, and he looks committed to me. Love the tackling numbers that Joe spoke about before and the clearance numbers from stoppages as well. Parfitt, he's just down there at the moment, caught one in the guts. Ball knocked wide here, and we'll have another stoppage out of bounds. And Brandon Parfitt still regaining his composure here. There's the numbers for him.
It's a nice balance when you look at those numbers of attack and defence and physicality, and I think that's what the Geelong midfield needs, is these younger guys to really add to it.
9 tackles during the night, wearing the number 3 well. Jimmy Bartel-Myers has the ball ricochet back in his direction. Menegola has a little crack at it too. Rowan, not quite. Hawkins, almost. Here's a chance for Duncan. Over the top, Myers. He's pretty sharp around goals. The Cats bounce back out to 38.
Good talk, John.
Talk about players that you feel confident when they've got the ball around goals. Brian Myers is becoming one of those for the Cats. Always knows where they are. Very good around the body. Good goal earlier tonight. Gets another 2 for the evening. Cats out to that 38-point lead again.
They're just keeping the ball in motion here at Geelong. And interestingly, again, it's been all their goals have come from their smalls, ground level. Just been able to keep the pressure on the ball, keep it in their forward half, and they've been rewarded. And it helps when you've had the centre clearance breaks that they have, and the domination that they've got. And we can see the Geelong supporters really starting to enjoy watching the footy and seeing their team doing well.
Going well, the Cats here at the moment. Dangerfield with the clearance. In fact, that's a little dangerous, the finishing part of that tackle.
You get in, Johnny. I'll go down.
A bit of a swing at the end.
Free kick's been paid.
It was originally Burgoyne's. It ends with Dangerfield because of the tackle.
Let it go, Sean. Thank you, boys. I'll just stay in zone.
Sean Burgoyne asking the question there of Brett Rosebery. And that's illegal.
He said, I think, to umpire Rosebery, I thought he still had the footy.
And sometimes that can be an excuse, but Blitzarv's caught with the footy here, and Bruce has the footy. 38-point margin. Got to get cracking here, the Hawks. Wingard. We've already had 20 goals kicked in the game, doubled what we had last night for the entire game. Here's Patton. He's got one of them. In fact, kicked that one in the second quarter that put him a point up. Here's that tackle again. It's just the last part of the tackle that was probably unnecessary. As Burgoyne rightly said, I don't reckon he could see whether he still had hold of the footy.
No. And you can see what the Geelong players, they understand that he's done something wrong, but the malice wasn't there and the intent wasn't there.
Patton comes in and hoiks that ball to the left, coming back a little now. Not enough. 37-point margin here with just under a minute remaining in the third quarter. Been a good quarter for the Cats.
I think you're spot on, Joe. If you know Sean Burgoyne, there is no malice. No. Competitive beast, ball player, sure, but no malice. Might have got it wrong, but here's Frost trying to reload for the Hawks. Dangerous spot, beautiful delivery. Warple, well, not quite through fingertips in the end. Gunson, clever little tap, and then Stewart able to mop up. Taylor direction, he might end up with it. No, beaten to it by Myers. Kick the last for the Cats. Works it back into the middle of the ground. Sicily amongst a couple. Flew. Hardwick did well. Morrison, bit of an up and under. The fall about 50 out from the Hawks goal. And Tui happy enough to mop out. Brings it wide this time to Rowan, who he saw fall awkwardly earlier in this term. Looks okay and moving well.
So the end of the quarter here. Now, interesting, just near the end, Sean Burgoyne, Paddy Dangerfield tackle. Let's have a listen to the tackle. Listen to the audio.
Dangerous tackle.
Dangerous tackle.
Sean. You get in, Johnny. I'll go down.
Reverse.
Let it go.
Free
Free kick's been paid. No.
Yeah.
Brett, stay there. I'll go mid-zone, Brett.
Yeah.
Let it go, Sean.
Not sure what was said in there, but what I do know is that that's a little bit of trouble for Sean Burgoyne there. I know he probably didn't mean it, but the fact is it happened, and a little bit of trouble coming his way, I'd reckon.
We'd have to listen again, but I think umpire Roseberry said to Paddy, "You okay?" He goes, yeah, fine.
Yep, and that's a good thing. Geelong here at three-quarter time, lead it by 37.
The talent's not just on the footy field. The world's greatest acts are coming.
You blew the roof off.
New America's Got Talent, Wednesday on 7.
Block rockin' beats.
The players took a knee before just to pay their respects and say that it's not black or white, it's black and white against racism, and then the game was on. Cats got the first 3, then the Hawks responded with a couple. Cats got the next 2, and then the Hawks the last 2 of the first term. Cats led by 7 at the long break. Cats led by 6 at half-time. Cats by 37 at three-quarter time. Ablett's been good. Let's have a listen. Sean Burgoyne, a tackle on Dangerfield. This is what was heard.
Wow.
Dangerous tackle.
Dangerous tackle.
Sean, you get in, Johnny.
Right.
I'll go down.
Reverse.
Let it go.
Free kick.
Free kick's been paid. No, fine.
You all right?
Brett, stay there. I'll go mid-zone, Brett.
Yeah,
Let it go, Sean. Thank you, boys. Brett, stay end zone.
Wow. Yours.
So I was just going for the footy is what Sean Burgoyne says. Not sure whether that helps enormously or not. The outcome.
You've still got to execute the tackle.
Okay.
Legally, and that's probably where the issue is. Despite him pleading that he didn't know where the footy was at the time.
20 goals to three-quarter time in Patrick Dangerfield's 250th. The Cats, well, 6 goals to 1, Job, in that third term, and things suddenly changed from a 6-point half-time lead, 37 at the final change.
They did, and you can see that they're on top of all the stats at the moment. 31 to 19 clearances is where the domination is, and we talked about the idiosyncrasies of the ground and how important the centre bounce would be and clearances, and that's where they've been able to generate a lot of their scores and put Hawthorn under pressure.
A lot of chitter-chat going each way between Dangerfield there and Burgoyne. Pleasant, I think. They both had smiles, but plenty of chat going on there. Down to you, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, that man we're talking about has been the change. Put him in around the centre bounce, be a little bit creative. Wingard can come up and replace him as well as Bruce. So just get some movement around the stoppage and get some ball inside forward 50.
And Dangerfield to start the final term gets a handball. Tui quickly towards half forward. Stratton just tried to soccer it forward, half volley. Ablett about the place. Frost, Rowan, a couple of speedsters. Charge at the footy. Frost wanted to find Smith, couldn't. Ablett emerges with the football and gets sat back down.
Guys, up we go, please.
Jimmy, on the tackle, do you think Sean's got a problem?
No, sometimes the right penalty is a free kick, and at the moment, that's what I think. I probably have to see it a few more times, but Danger got up, took his kick and said he was fine.
Yeah, I think that was the best part of it. High footy. Atkins.
Handball, play on.
Handball. Henderson now around the corner. Duncan. Handball to Selwood. Smothered there by Burgoyne, who got cleaned up off the ball by Duncan.
Got the footy against Sean Burgoyne, your kick here.
And
you've thrown him down for the footy.
Free kick comes back to Tui. What do you make of it, Joe? What do you think about it? Has he got a case to answer?
I think that they'll look at it really closely just because of the slinging action at the end.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is a good result that Danger got straight up, but they don't like that action of players' heads hitting the ground in that way.
And Sean giving another way a free kick, giving another free kick away, just seemingly frustrated, BT.
Yep.
Thanks, Reece.
Normally pretty calm and cool.
Thank you.
So Cats by 37, lost the opening round to the Giants. Hawks, the job to do, beat the Lions in the opening round by 28. Scully going nowhere fast. So Paddy Dangerfield, had 18 times in his 250th. 1 goal, 2. Stanley had a good night. Hawkins knew where Myers was. Menegola might have just got in the road momentarily, and then Henry fires from a long way out. Going to finish up about 15 from home. Stanley went back with a flight. Here's a chance for Atkins. Got one early, got another one. Got two for the night, Tom Atkins, and they're out to a 43-point lead. You talk about the small players doing the damage, Job, and again, Myers the last of the third, Atkins the first of the final term. 14 goals, 6 to 7-5, and through the 7-goal barrier now. Atkins, what a refined he's been in the last few years.
We'll just have a look at Reece Stanley here, just causing a contest, going back in with the flight, and then another ground ball, small player kicking a goal for Geelong. It's been interesting tonight. We had a look at the Hawthorn backline, and they picked a tallish backline, and they've been able to negate the talls from Geelong kicking the goal and hitting the scoreboard, but it's actually been the smalls, the Cats, that have done the damage with the goals.
Playing on each other now. First time Atkins has kicked two as well. In the middle we go. Segler, Stanley. There's Dangerfield and Burgoyne once again. This time Burgoyne a little more careful. Ablett to Dangerfield. Dangerfield shifts off the handball here to Stewart. Stewart finds Guthrie further down the field. He looks inside, he'll go, and they've got a bit of space here now. If Tui can move it quickly, he does. Able to sell the dummy wide, straight up the middle. Atkins the intended target, and Stratton, third man up.
Quickly to Smith by hand, and then a hurried one to half forward. Patton on the end of it. Gunston, he was the option. He thought about quickly and then went short to Wingard.
Behind him, Mark. Hold there, hold.
Wingard gets the free kick, and there's a couple of options. Gunston, he's the first of the leaders. He's ignored. Shields points over the top, says to go in the Scully direction. He's ignored. This time it's O'Brien flying. Chance here for Hanrahan. Didn't quite connect as he would have liked. Blitzards. Taylor out of trouble, at least for now. Dangerfield arrives, does just enough. Got there in time.
Thanks, guys. Keep running angles, boys. Ben!
No stat for that. It stopped a certain mark, Dangerfield.
It was a great contest, wasn't it? Without knowing what was coming in the other direction just means that Geelong get another opportunity rather than they're trying to defend from deep inside their back 50.
Stanley to Narkle.
I couldn't see it.
Burgoyne into the smother.
I just couldn't see. I just couldn't see.
Knocked out.
Over there, keep the meter.
It's the smother. Sean Burgoyne turned immediately to the umpire then. He's just a little frustrated at the moment, Shawnee. Back into play. 43-point lead here with the Cats. Going to be a very, very impressive win for them. Burgoyne. And they've got a few games coming up as well here, the Cats. They've got two of their next three are here at GMHBA, so good place for them to be playing footy.
I think they've got an 88% record over the last 10 years down here, so there's no reason why they wouldn't be happy being down here.
And since 2014, they're 41-7, 85%. At the MCG, same time, 21-20, 51%. They're very happy with the whole new sort of allocation of games.
You can understand why they're voting for home finals in September.
Exactly.
They want home finals here. They want away games here. They want home games here. Here's Guthrie. Stewart, Dangerfield. A little bit of speed. So Guthrie now shimmies his way through. Back to O'Connor. We're talking about that Patton goal in that second term, BT putting the Hawks in front by a point. Since then, well, up until about a minute or so ago, it was 26-9 inside 50s. 8 goals to 1 since the Patton goal.
Domination. Ablett looked inside. Narkle. Good-looking ball brings Stanley back up deliberately. Stanley wanted to keep going, had to change direction. McAvoy, Myers. Just a little more nimble there, Myers. Here's Atkins, gets rid of Scully. Little handball out wide. Now Myers. Got Hardwick trying to corral him. Back inside to Atkins. Atkins, neat little ball, and Narkle, who started it all back in the middle with the handball receive, will get a set shot at goal.
You called it just a little bit more nimble at ground level, Brian. It's been one of the things I think has been noticeable is the ground balls and how Geelong have been able to be on top, especially in their forward half. We have a look at what they've done on the goals on the scoreboard, but it's just been that the ability for those smaller players to keep the ball in motion and hit the scoreboard.
So there's the shot confronting Narkle. Wasn't great, was it? They've been reasonably accurate tonight, 14-6. There's been a few missed completely like that one.
Morrison had plenty of Hawks yelling at him. In the end, happy to go to the outer side wing. That a mid-air shield straight into the hands of Menegola.
Thank you.
Now into the pocket. Chance for Taylor. Hardwick did enough. Scully involved with Smith. Scully's going to get on the end of it again. Continues to run. By hand a lot here, the Hawks. And then a fumble from Smith. Tui just shelters the ball, goes and picks it up, turns inside out and did well. Dalhouse wanted Tui again. Clever ball around the corner. Hawks, though, have the numbers. The skipper, Stratton to Morrison. And a little kick now to Frost.
So Frost off half-back, dashing. Henderson wide. The kick was a little skinny, though, allowing Rowan to get there and defend it. Now off to Narkle. He gets a bit of an escort to the ground, looking for Guthrie to go into the pocket. He didn't want to go there, and he was a little stationary there, Cam Guthrie. Ball knocked away, Sicily. Alistair Clarkson knows that this one's done and doesn't get any easier next week when they confront the Tigers. The Hawks at the MCG. Ratugolea. Sicily trying to backheel it out of there. Ratugolea eventually picked it up, and this will be another ball up.
Interesting when you look at the season, Joe. I mean, compressed season, 17 rounds, shorter quarters, Richmond North and then the Giants. You don't want to get caught with a poor ratio early. The percentage, I think, becomes important. I read an article today that they're thinking 10 games probably gets you into the 8 after the 17. That's having a look at the last 10 years. 10 seems to be the number where you're sitting inside the 8 after 17 rounds. Menegola shapes a little one over the top to Rowan. Well, it worked out perfectly in the end over the head of Bruce. Rowan happy to give it off. Myers, he's had a good night. He can look for 3. We talk about the small Cats getting the goals. Couple for Atkins, couple for Dalhouse. One for Duncan, one for Dangerfield, one for Selwood. Myers looking for 3.
15 gone, thanks.
Stanley, as you said, has got a couple, but he's kicked them like a small man.
You think Chris Scott and the coaching staff would be thrilled when they see the spread of goal kickers at the end of the game.
Myers, a shuffle from the umpire, but he gets his 3rd. Equal high for him. So for the 4th time in Brian Myers' career, he leaves with 3. Might add to it the way he's going too. Still 9 minutes to play in the final term. But I think a lot of footy fans smiling around the country. 10 goals in total last night. A draw. Nice tight finish, but 22 goals with 10 to play.
So the Hawks fans on the Toyota fan zone there have just waned in their support somewhat, become rather stagnant in their lounge chairs and just losing a little bit of interest because the Cats have dominated, particularly the second half. Geelong have just kicked the 1 second-half goal to date. 49-point margin here now. Ratugolea able to flick that out the back, and
Hawthorn.
Mitchell here will get the free against Selwood. Just forward to the centre circle here, Mitchell. Is this long and deep? Who's flying? From the side, couldn't mark it. Segler, the big fella, little handball out the back there by Parfitt. Got it to Tui. A precision type kick looking for Ablett, confronted on this occasion by Warple, who was able to duck under the Ablett tackle. The interception taken on there by Tui in touch, said the umpire. That's why O'Brien wasn't paid the mark, and Parfitt making sure he doesn't get away with it either.
John, Azava, back here.
Tui, clever enough to get boot to ball, and Ablett front spot. Hardwick did well, knocked it down. Warple under pressure, got it to Segler. Segler to Hardwick. Hardwick to Mitchell, and then a free kick coming the way of
You go clear, Tom.
a man who's done well to get back. Like a duck to water in round one. Still able to find plenty of the football tonight. 21st disposal. We know he can get to absurd numbers, but long layoff with that broken leg. It's great to see him back out there in Hawks colours. Blitz halves. Dangerfield to fly. Segler had it, lost it. Ablett, Dangerfield combined. They've had good fun against the Hawks since 2013. I think both of them averaging over 30 in that period.
Hold. Geelong. Selwood.
Talk about the Cats record here. 90 of the last 100 they've won. 38 of those by more than 50 points. Crazy numbers. Hughes wide to Gary.
Ablett, handball over the top to Selwood. Just a neat little package delivered in the breadbasket of Myers. His kick didn't quite have the height. Scully able to spoil. Morrison ground level, picked up Sicily, and eventually Hanrahan moving the footy forward. Henderson here with O'Connor, I think it was, able to brush the tackle. Thought about the handball to Guthrie, went wide in the end, and now got it back, but in real trouble. Dalhouse trying to help and find a way forward. Radaglia, Myers was hanging about, picked up by Parfitt, right foot, won't get the bendy at home. High ball still in the field of play though. Dangerfield is there, almost off hands. Hawkins to Menegola, he runs into an open goal, and they lead by 55. Menegola has his second goal.
Really clear. Yep.
They had a 55-point lead with 6.5 minutes remaining in it. So Paddy Dangerfield going to celebrate his 250th in style here tonight.
Good contest, and Tom Hawkins is one of the best parts about his game is his intelligence. And you just look at that little tap there to Menegola in the goal square, and they've kicked another one. And again, a smaller player. The ball has just been moving all the time. It's been in motion in the Geelong forward 50, and it's meant that they've been able to create goals, not so much by kicks and marks, but by the ball being moving all the time.
9 goals to 1 in the second half, a 6-point margin at half-time. I'm not sure whether too many people saw this tidal wave coming.
They've looked sharp, haven't they, Geelong? They haven't looked rusty at all.
And Chris Scott pointed that at half-time. He said the amount of numbers that they could throw through the midfield, and you see that every centre bounce, they've got a different combination in there just to keep speed on the game, and as you said, that energy around the ball, Joe.
Here's a little chance for the Hawks. O'Brien wanted to knock it to Warple. The pressure from the Cats' defence was really good, and Duncan has an opportunity to get the Cats rolling again. Smith, though, has it put on his chest. He's happy just to continue to roll. Gets to about 70. Pulls the trigger. Front spot, Menegola. Menegola kicked a goal moments ago for the Cats. This time he's doing the defence with work and doing it pretty well. One of these players that took a long time to get their opportunity, and Menegola now a regular in this Cats outfit. Recent father with wife Emma, baby Otis. Well done to the Menegola clan.
It's a big number discrepancy in the uncontested possessions, but also the contested possessions as well. Geelong have really been on top in both those areas. Inside 50s, almost 20 more. can understand why it's equated to a fairly large difference.
Overlap run here from Duncan. Beautiful kick, and Rowan with a set shot now from directly in front, about 40 metres out here. Gary Rowan. Whitish night for him.
15 gone.
His fifth touch of the footy. Maybe a little bit of left to right about this kick here for Rowan. So 5 minutes remaining in the game to make it a 61-point lead. Normally pretty good in front of goal. No exception there for Gary Rowan, who gets his first of the night. So 4 straight goals in this last quarter, on top of the 6 goals they kicked in the third quarter. 6 goals to 1. Gives them a 61-point margin here. And they look super impressive on this ground.
We have a look at the skipper there on screen, and his Telstra tracker. A lot of work, as you expect, through the middle of the ground. And he came into the season of round 1 a little bit underdone, but he's one who's benefited from the long break. He looks super fit, lean, 27 touches, typical contested, high numbers, and lots of clearances.
So 10 goals to 1-1 since half-time. Been one-way traffic. The conversation has become a lecture, and the Cats have flexed their muscle. 24 goals for the night so far, and the Cats look like they're keen for more. Here's Dangerfield. Slaps it in the Ablett direction. Good enough to get away from Smith. Knew that Scully was coming. Gave it off to Parfitt. Little cute kick. Finds Narkle. Now Narkle, long driving ball to the top of the square. Frost used his body well, brought it to ground. Frawley becomes the rover and puts it into the hands of Segler. Now Hanrahan doubles back, works it through the middle. Shields got the runner, this time Warple.
Warple. Find Bruce or Burgoyne, either one would do, but O'Connor's got in the middle of them. Really accomplished player. We've spoken about him several times tonight. Young guy, looks like a really good leader, handling the game well. As I mentioned earlier in the game, didn't choose to go home to Ireland during the break like several other Irish guys did. Not that there's a right or wrong in that, but he just wanted to stay and do some extra work. Stewart, sideways ball to Harry Taylor. And Taylor, game 263 for him. So probably not going to get to the 300. Maybe his last year this year. Don't know whether he's got intentions of playing on. Here's Myers. 3 minutes and counting. Cats in the next few weeks. Carlton, Melbourne and Gold Coast. 2 of those games here.
Yeah, Carlton and the Gold Coast here, Brisbane. You talk about an opportunity to build a bit of percentage. Not being disparaging, but not a lot had Carlton in the top 8 or the Suns in the top 8. So opportunity to really push and press. They can have a nice big win here. They won 8 of 9 here last year. Only lost to the Giants by 4 points. They sat on top for 21 of 23 home and away rounds last year. Number 2 for scoring, number 1 for defence. So maybe an opportunity lost in a few Cats fans' eyes last year. Lost to the Giants in the opening round, and they'll turn 1-1. And they'll be pretty pleased to get rid of the Hawks tonight. So Scully to hot spot. Segler, bit of a fumble. Puopolo, not quite. Hanrahan, well, offline. Harry's there either way.
Taylor, short ball to Myers. Myers been impressive tonight. That kick not to the advantage, though, of Mitch Duncan. Zach Smith shepherding, allowing Stratton to go and get the footy. Frawley just backing off, and through the middle comes Burgoyne. Wingard with that beautiful one-handed scoop. Warple, the bounce off him. Ablett. He's had 19 touches of the footy tonight, G. Ablett. Been pretty damn good. McAvoy. Henry. Scully now, he fumbled. O'Connor, that's all he needed, an opportunity after the fumble, and will ball it up.
There's been a lot of Cats who have been impressive tonight, and I think Jimmy touched on Joel, and he was probably a little bit underdone when the season started, but he's looked really sharp tonight.
Yeah, absolutely has. The breaks really helped him and a few other players around the league, but Joel rushed into round one, and there was some talk he wasn't going to travel to the Giants, did, and they came away getting rolled by 32 points. But the end of the Cats' year last year was so odd. They went into the bye 11-1, then they went loss, win, loss, win, loss, win for the last 14.
They really had trouble scoring in the second half, and really towards the end of last year. They were a really high-scoring team in the first half of the year, and that became their Achilles heel in the second half of the year, which meant that they were less consistent. But I think for them, the most pleasing thing about tonight, and it's a small sample size, is that the improvement is going to come from these guys in their second, third, fourth year. Parfitt and Narkle and
Myers has been really good tonight.
Really good as well. And I think we know what we're going to get from Dangerfield and Selwood, and Abler will play a really important role in the periphery. But for them to really improve and to challenge these top sides, these guys are going to take them to that next level.
Hawthorn have not scored with 30 seconds remaining in this quarter at all. Nothing. Not a dot. Handball Scully. Morrison. Got some numbers running forward here. Scully, long ball inside 50. O'Brien's going to have to do something pretty good. Henry did well with the back of the fist to the boundary. Super impressive. Taylor. And that'll just about do it. Harry just bit off a bit more than he can handle there and has been pinged. So Piopolo may score after the siren here. At the moment, they have nothing on the scoreboard in this last quarter. 3 seconds remaining. Piopolo within about 40 metres.
And 4 goalless quarters last night, a couple for both sides.
So Piopolo doesn't go for the goal. So boy, they ain't going to score at all. She's all over. Cats have won by 61 points in a magnificent second half of football from them.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Kardinia Park.
So Paddy Dangerfield, game 250 for him. He'd be delighted in one of these games, milestone games that they've got to win.
He spoke pre-game, didn't he, BT, about how his milestones to date had been largely unsuccessful. He started quietly, ended up with 24 and 1 goal too. Sort of quietly built and got the footy when it looked like he was going to have a quiet night.
I thought Shields did a good job on him in the first half, but Paddy was able to then exert himself in the second half, and he's been really impressive. But we've got Jimmy downstairs. He's got the Geelong captain with him.
Skipper, fantastic game for you. You look lean, you look fit. Coming into round one, you're a little bit underdone. One to benefit from the long break.
Yeah, one of many for us. I mean, we had a few boys limping at that stage, so it's been nice to have a little bit of extra time. But in saying that, Jim, the facts are pretty tough. Like, we've only trained 3 times together as a sort of group of 40, so for the performance we put out tonight, we're pretty happy with it.
The experienced players, does it help having so many of them when you have a long break like that, being well organised and used to playing with each other?
Well, to be honest, I used it before the game. So whether it's true or not, I decided to use it, that we have played a lot of footy together. So it was important that we sort of had that message coming up inside that we really respect.
On the flip side, Narkle, Parfitt, a lot of the young guys spinning through the midfield, extra numbers through the midfield, able to keep pace on the game?
Yeah, that, and I mean also our guys on the outside did well. Obviously we were a little bit sloppy early with letting him get a few easy goals, but apart from that, the night was pretty solid.
Well done, Skip, on a great game.
Thanks, mate. Good to see you.
You hear a lot about Joel down here, and the one thing we spoke about was that he said, right, who needs to spend time with me in isolation? When Han chose a few of the youngsters, and as a result, they got great learning experience at a time when a lot of people were trying to find ways to improve, and he just helped the youngsters get better. Han picked them one by one and said, come with me.
Would have been a problem if no one had said, I'll take it up on the offer.
I think Cooper Stevens was one of the big beneficiaries. Down to you, Jimmy.
Here with the Geelong ruckman, Reece Stanley. Super game from you. We looked at your heat tracker, pushing forward hard. Was that the plan? Take the ruck, push forward hard?
Yeah, try to, mate. I've tried to do it a bit over the last few years. I suppose I can try and use that as a strength of mine to get forward and put pressure on the opposition ruckman. I tried to do it early tonight just to try and get them going that way a little bit before I have to chase them back the other way. But it seemed to work a couple of times.
The coach and the skipper just mentioned lots of new faces around the midfield. Has that been a big focus in the pre-season and the layoff that we've had?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've come together pretty well. This last couple of months has been obviously productive for us, and smaller groups has given us a chance to really hone in and work together closely, and I think we gelled pretty well tonight.
Very big week for you as well on the home front. Welcome a new little baby girl.
Yeah, baby girl, Kirst. My wife did a super job a couple of days ago on Wednesday. So yeah, little Sloan, she's coming to the world, so pretty pumped, mate.
Congratulations. Go enjoy Dangerous 250 and
Thanks,
of course
mate.
the little girl.
Thanks, Jimmy.
And there he is, the great champion, the Brownlow medalist, 250 games. And, well, he was held in the first half. He made the most of it when he went forward and just flexed those muscles again. What an ornament to the game he is, Patrick Dangerfield, the president of the AFL Players Association and one of the great leaders of the Geelong Football Club. The actual leader of the Geelong Football Club, Joel Selwood, was just about best on ground. He was absolutely sensational, and Gary Ablett wasn't far behind. So the big three down at Geelong had a night out tonight. Guys, just going through it, 7 points the difference at quarter time, a goal the difference at half time. We said, gee, the Hawks haven't been going all that well, but you never know, they might click. Well, we got it half right. They were going ordinary, and then they tailed off, as Sam Newman would say. 37 points the difference at three-quarter time, and in the end, it was a good old-fashioned belting down at Kardinia Park, GMHBA Stadium. The Cats getting home by 61 points.
A full-on smacking, but you've got to take your hat off to the Cats. So impressive in that second half. And what I loved was how strong they were around the contest, how hard they worked, the numbers. They always had more numbers than the Hawks did. And you mentioned Joel Selwood off the top. That's seriously one of the best games I've seen him play. Out of all the midfielders out on the ground, to me, he stood head and shoulders above everybody.
10 goals 2 to 1 goal 1 since half-time. That's a big flogging. Here's the song. Good stuff, a little bit of a woo in the middle there, and almost a fist bump in the middle. As I said, guys, 10 goals 2 to 1 goal 1 from half-time. Geelong's dominance from a 6-point lead at half-time to a 61-point victory at the end of the game. Now, let's have a look at the second half dominance of this Geelong Football Club, Brewy.
A lot of those numbers were even at half-time, particularly the contested footy, and it just seemed every time if you froze the tape at any point in time when the ball was around, Geelong always outnumbered Hawthorn around the
every
contest.
time. Yep.
And you spoke about Joel Selwood in the first half, and you said he needed some mates to lift in the second half. Well, Dangerfield had a really big second half. Duncan got going through the midfield as well, and that was the area where they just completely smacked Hawthorn.
I think Dangerfield was able to get himself into the contest when he went and actually played as a key forward. Yep. He led, he flew for some marks, didn't take any big ones, but he ended up getting on the end of one or two, kicked a couple of goals, and then when he went back on the ball, his confidence was up and running, and he tended to get a bit more of it.
Boys, let's have a look at the Zero Lab, thanks to Zero, of course, and particularly the small forwards for the Geelong Football Club. Graham Myers ended up with 3 goals. Yep. And he was nice and lively early on. Gary Ablett was fantastic. Let's go through a few of them.
He was terrific. Atkins was terrific. But when you see this, there's 2 more Geelong players out to the left of screen. They could have raffled it. Any one of 3 or 4 of them could have kicked it. And too many Hawks got caught underneath the footy. The Cats just kept tracking it. getting numbers to where they needed to be. Their work rate really stood out for me.
And if you're a Geelong supporter or you're Chris Scott, you're sitting there thinking, well, we've managed to kick a huge score, a dominant score, without Ratugolea, without Hawkins really having any impact on the scoreboard or inside 50 for that matter. So the small forwards got to work. They caused Hawthorn all sorts of problems.
As soon as it hit the ground.
As soon as it hit the ground, exactly. It was advantage Geelong because of that really top-heavy Hawthorn back six.
It's a long drive back to Melbourne when you lose by 61 points down at the Cattery. And Johnny Ralph's with us now from the Herald Sun. Ralphie, it might be a long couple of days as well for Sean Burgoyne, who is a very fair player, but he might have just overcooked the sling tackle.
No doubt about that. He will not be playing against the Richmond Football Club next Thursday. Now, thankfully for him, he'll get a resolution from the MRO tomorrow, of course, under the new resolution of 24 hours for the MRO suspensions. Not about the reputation, not about the fact he's a good bloke. It's exactly the kind of sling tackle the AFL wants to eliminate. Not to be overly dramatic, but a bloke called Polly Farmer has had CTE from concussions and sub-concussions. You can see that he drags him into the ground. The MRO talks about an opponent being slung, driven or rotated into the ground with excessive force. So if this one is, as I would believe, medium impact, careless and to the head, it's a week. Now, if it's high impact, it's 2 weeks. But given that Dangerfield wasn't concussed, thankfully, I think it's probably right in that 1 week age bracket. We might even show you a couple of precedents too before we get your thoughts there, guys. And the fact that the ball spins out too. Now, there's a duty of care there. He's suspended anyway, but that probably only makes it look worse from a perception point of view. Now, this is Willie Rioli last year. Now, it takes a little while to develop, but it is a copybook sling tackle. Only a week on Connor O'Riordan. Now, he was assisted off the ground. He's probably lucky to get a week. This is a real parallel from March this year. Will Hayes on Dan Houston. Again, a really similar tackle there. He got up, he took a kick, a 1 week suspension. So I reckon given that, it's a week and it's probably not more.
Yeah, I think so. And as you said there, the fact that the ball he didn't have the ball, that makes it a little bit more.
Well, the difficulty, and I'm certainly not defending the act, the difficulty when you tackle is you don't get to see when the ball spills out. But my point would be, Rui, if we want to stamp out that action, and we do, just give it a suspension. Don't worry about categorising it and saying, oh, you can get off with a fine because it was low impact because he wasn't hurt. No. If you want to stamp the act out, just say it's a minimum week and then we load up after that if there's damage to the player.
The reason we want to stamp it out is because of the potential to cause serious
head injuries.
And we know that any time you sling a play like that, they're completely defenceless. You've got no way to protect yourself. And there was a bit of good bloke sentiment in the commentary while we were watching. Yeah, and that is the case with Sean Burgoyne, absolutely, but it's completely irrelevant, and you want to stamp the act out.
Yeah, as you said, it looked bad, didn't it, early on, just the first couple of seconds that he's out here as he got up, and then, of course, they're having a bit of a laugh and a shake.
Shortly after that, Ed, we saw the three-quarter time huddle, and Danger was having jokes with a few people in there, so he was fine. But let's not worry about whether he was fine or not. Let's stamp out the act.
We used to get rubbed out for attempting to strike once upon a time. Used to get a week. All right, let's go down to Jono now, down at GMHBA Stadium. Brad Johnson with Luke Dalhouse.
Lukey, what a fantastic restart.
Yeah, it's good. It's a pretty good contest up to half time, but pretty happy how we responded. The last two quarters thought we did really well, so trying it out like that is it's a great win.
Yourself included with all the other forwards, really sharp at the feet of the bigs today.
Yeah. We knew it was going to be pretty dewy, it always is down in Geelong, especially on a Friday night this time. So, we probably played that small ball sort of game in the forward half there, and I think it really worked. I think Graham Myers, Tommy Atkins and Gaz, and I think we did really well.
And don't discount yourself as well, chipping in with a couple.
Okay.
What was said at half time in terms of the adjustments you needed to make?
No, we knew we were in the game. It's just probably just some cleanliness around the contest. Just thought we could be a little bit better, and they started to use the ball a little bit and kept the ball off us, but we thought we got it back into a contest like we wanted the last half, and finished off.
And a good celebration for Danger as well in his 250th.
It was good. He was pretty happy with the finish, I think. So, he played a great game, and he always does, Paddy, so glad we get the win for him.
Dale, well done, mate. You're back in good form and back for a big win. Well done.
Thanks, John. Cheers, mate.
Great stuff. He might be amongst the cats, but he found a former dog to interview, didn't he, Brad Johnson? Fantastic. Luke Dalhouse was dynamite. Now, guys, I've just got a message through here. It says, Ed, for Danger to bounce back from the tackle shows what a tough, classy player he is. And how fit did Selwood look? Very good judge, Josh Frydenberg, the treasurer of Australia, enjoying Fox footy tonight. Good on you, Josh. Look after Jason's tax return, will you? All okay? Nothing
Not
to worry
much
about?
in mind, mate. Not you might want to have a chat to this bloke over here.
He's got all in America these days, apparently. Oh,
yeah.
no.
It's all offshore, isn't it?
Yeah. Caymans.
Now for the Blues and the D's, says Josh. Well, we're going to get to that in a few moments, Josh, so stick with us. We'll have a preview of the Blues taking on the D's, which is the big game exclusive on Fox Footy tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be an absolute beauty. In the meantime, the build-up to those games starts with the Saturday countdown. Hutto, Kingy, Derm and Robbo. Let's have a look what they got in store. There he is, the great man. Good show. This gets a bit lively at times, this one too. They're mucking around here, but it's got a bit lively. Even some of the guests have had a bit of a punch on with them at stages. They're crossing the meet tomorrow, I hope, aren't they?
You're watching Friday Night Footy on.
And we're ready to go on Super Saturday. We've got Brisbane and Fremantle to open proceedings up in the hub. Then Josh Frydenberg special. It's Carlton versus Melbourne. It's going to be a beauty. Port Adelaide, and Adelaide is the next game coming up, the showdown, and that's going to have a bit of spice about it. And GWS and West Coast Eagles again. Sorry, the Gold Coast. Take that back. Gold Coast Suns and the West Coast Eagles again up in the Brisbane hub. Great stuff there. Carlton and Melbourne. It's a couple of big comebacks tomorrow in this game. Harley Bennell is just one of the great stories. He was gone, Harley. It's the calf injuries. His whole life, it seemed to be all over when he finished up at Fremantle. He's been given a third chance at the Melbourne Football Club. Even here, he looked like over the summer he was in trouble, Jace.
He's trained the house down there, Rick. He's done everything right. He's been super impressive. So he's earned a chance. Fantastic effort. We love a comeback in footy. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's an exclusive Fox Footy game. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're actually out at Marvel Stadium. And Eddie Betts back for the Blues. I mean, we've got a couple of genuine stars that we want to see at their best, and hopefully they get to showcase their skills tomorrow.
That's the thing. We're all cheering for Harley Bennell because I remember when he first came into the game, and we played a few games up on the Gold Coast. He looked like the sort of player early in his career that could be the best player in the competition. Yeah. He moves that well. He uses the footy that well. So if he can get a genuine run at it from an injury point of view, it'll be just such a good thing for footy because we'll all get to witness another great player.
I reckon
he's got that potential.
What Harley Bennell can bring to Melbourne is ball use, something they need, something that just lifts them up a gear so that when they're going, particularly inside 50, he's going to go bang and hit targets. And all of a sudden, if I'm a forward for the D's and Harley Bennell's got the ball, I'm leading straight at him.
Yeah. He's a great player. And Eddie Betts back for Carlton. How good's that?
Well, they have the big
I was going to ask you the same thing.
They're getting bigger. Are the pants getting bigger or is Eddie getting smaller?
I don't know. He'll be wearing trackies before long. That big.
All right, guys, let's have a look at the zero key moment of the match we've just seen. And who better than to have the 250-game superstar in Patrick Dangerfield. This was the 15-minute mark of the third quarter, and this broke the back of the game. Look at this, big hard tackle, hard fly at the ball, aggressive fly at the ball, then a beautiful tackle. Isaac Smith pinned, rolled into the dirt, and then from 50, slams it right through the middle.
Good decision by the umpire too, because he had an option to give the handball away, and then he decided to ride the tackle. So well done to Danger. He pulled himself up off the deck tonight because he was well beaten by Liam Shields in the first half.
Got to admire the way, for a guy that it's not his natural position, that when he does go forward, the way he launches and attacks the footy in the air, which isn't always comfortable for a midfielder, gee, he's brave in the air.
Well, he's built like a key position player, isn't he? I mean, he's 6'3" and can run and jump.
Yeah, he is. Big chest. That made the difference, 37 points. It broke the game open, and after that, it was all Geelong from that moment on. OK, let's go back down to Geelong now. We mentioned, I think, Jason, you said that the best player on the ground was?
By a mile, Joel Selwood.
And he is with Brad Johnson.
Sensational win. Nothing wrong with the scoring in the game?
Well, I mean, we obviously played this ground really well. You know, played a bit more direct at times too. And when you can hit the scoreboard that straight, it obviously helps out.
What about yourself? You look fantastic tonight. You really set the tone in that first half. How are you feeling?
Oh, I mean, I feel good. I mean, what we've been able to do over this period is get a bit of running legs back, which over the pre-season period was sort of chasing a little bit to keep up with the boys. But this period was more, for a lot of us, just about learning to run and, you know, get those kilometres in again. So it's been good, not only for myself, but a number of the boys.
you really did hold the team together in that first half, especially in the midfield. But there was growth. Danger stepped up in that second half. Narkle got more ball. Menengola as well. That seemed to be the best part about the team's performance in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a grind at times, but even like watching last night's game too, it's hard to get momentum, and when you've got it, you've got to try and keep it. So that second half obviously fell our way a bit more than what it did theirs, but the challenge is just to keep doing it quarter after quarter.
And Reece Stanley, he really did set the tone in the ruck throughout the night.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he had a baby girl earlier in the week, him and his partner Kirsten, so that was fantastic news. And it obviously got him up for tonight, so he might have to, I don't know how he's going to repeat it this week, but hopefully he'll do more of the same.
Well done, Joel. Great start to the restart. All the best.
Thanks very much, Jono. Cheers.
Joel, might have to wait a year for that another game, I reckon. But anyway, let's go to the break with Billy Brownless and PointsBet. Go on, Billy.
Thanks, Edward. Some ripping clashes tomorrow. Brisbane are $1.30 favourites against Freo. They went 10-1 at home last year and they need to win this one. Carlton versus Melbourne. The D's are $1.60 favourites. They have won 4 straight against the Blues. But, geez, they let you down when they're expected to win. The Eagles, well, they're a better bet than Winks. They are $1.15 to beat the Suns. And the Showdown 48, Port Adelaide are favourites. And these games are always tight, so the Crows could present some value there at $2.60. And what about this? Elite odds player combos at PointsBet. Oliver and Cripps combined for 50 or more, and they've got to kick a goal at $5. Mark that down. And Tex and Charlie Dixon to combine for 4 or more goals at $4. That's elite odds. And finally, all Thursday, Friday and Saturday night games all season long. If your team leads at half-time, you win. We pay out head-to-head bets as winners straight away. So download the PointsBet app and gamble responsibly.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox. You're watching Friday Night Footy on Fox.
Yeah, just wrapping up now before we get to the first crack coming up in a few moments' time. What are Hawthorn? How do they pick themselves up from here, Jase?
A lot of work to do because they have to play Richmond next week, which isn't the sort of team you want to face on the rebound. And Richmond will be stung by just having a draw last night as well. So it's a big game. For me, Rui, their intensity left a lot to be desired, particularly in the second half. The tackle numbers look okay on paper, but the quality of tackling was really, really poor. And the work rate to get numbers around the ball was a very long second to Geelong's.
Which path do you think Alistair Clarkson would go down for the review after a very long break? Because it could have the potential to be a very, very ugly review for Hawthorn. With some of the goals that they conceded, the intensity in the tackling, it was un-Hawthorn-like what we saw in that second half.
I reckon he'll let the players run a lot of it. I mean, they had a good win in round 1 against Brisbane. Now, we don't know if Brisbane's going to back up the form of last year. But just knowing Clark, he might get a few of the players to drive it, and I think they'll be pretty hard on themselves, because when you look at that on video, it's not going to look great, some of those things.
Boys, thank you very much for being here.
Pleasure, Edward. The footy's back.
It's back. We've had a good night. We've had a draw. We've had a flogging. Now let's go to the first crack. 61 points to the Cats.
Crack this.